This is AM News. Details now. The Fisheries Minister and Member of Parliament for Ewutu-Senya East constituency, Mavis Howard-Kumsin, has assisted the police to arrest 2 people suspected to have been involved in the assault of Cape FM journalist David Kobina during the Central Regional vetting of parliamentary aspirants of the NPP. This was disclosed by the President of the Ghana Journalists Association at a press conference to announce the lifting of media blackout on another MP, Farouk Aliu Mahama. Carlos Kaloni has the rest of the story.
The Ghana Journalists Association, GJA, has revealed that Minister of Fisheries and MP for Ewutu-Senya East constituency, Mavis Howard-Kumsin, has sent 2 of the alleged persons who assaulted Cape FM journalist David Kobina to the police to aid investigations. Speaking at a press conference in Accra, the GJA president, Albert Jumfor, pledged his outfit will continue to pursue the case to its logical conclusion.
The latest development on this case is that Ms. Howard-Kumsin has honored her way by taking 2 suspects identified to her during the said meeting to the police to assist the police with investigations. We are very much aware that the police has cautioned them and has taken their statement. We are following up on the case with the police to ensure prosecution. I have directed the Central Regional Executive to speak to the complainant, that's the victim, Kobina, to write to the police to seek for the state of investigation report. We will inform the public when this report gets to us.
Meanwhile, GJA says the Yendi MP Farouk Mahama has made peace with the association and its partners, hence his blackout has been revoked.
After meeting as a coalition to assess the conciliatory gesture of the MP, the plea by the Minister of Information Designate and Head Deputy Designate, and the positive feedback from the management of City TV, City FM, the GJA and its partners have decided to end the media boycott placed on Honorable Farouk Aliu Mahama, MP for Yendi. We therefore respectfully request all media organizations to take note and act accordingly with effect from today, May 9, 2024. Let me point out that we have the full acceptance of City FM, City TV management on this matter. We have their full acceptance and the full cooperation in this regard.
The GJA president revealed that the implementation of the media blackout strategy has yielded positive results as attacks on journalists appear to be on the decline.
We are glad to say that no attack on journalists has been recorded since we made this observation at our last press conference. Furthermore, there is good news on Ghana's improved press freedom ranking as recently announced. So what we are trying to say is that after recording the first 2 attacks in January, I think early February, there was another one, making 3. And since we took this decision and in our resolve to blacklist persons and individuals who comes after journalists, who attack journalists for no provocation, no reason, we have realized a decline in the attack on journalists and media practitioners. And for me, this is really good for us. It means that the measures and decisions we have taken is really biting, and everyone is really cautioned and being careful about the media.
The GJA remains hopeful that the media fraternity will continue to enjoy safety, especially in the lead up to this year's general elections. Carlos Kaloni for Joy News, Accra.
MP for Cape Coast North, Dr. Kwame Namintanyako, is asking the rank and file of the NDC to unite to win the 2024 elections. Dr. Kwame Namintanyako says Ghanaians need to be freed from the hardships the NPP government has inflicted on us. Addressing a forum by the youth wing of the constituency, Dr. Mentanyako appealed to the party members who are just turned 18 to register to give the NDC a major boost in the December polls. There's more in this report.
Addressing party supporters in the Cape Coast North constituency, the MP, Dr. Kwame Mentanyako, called on his constituents to support him in order to retain the seat. The MP discounted claims of his opponent that he was the one that ensured the road construction in the constituency.
MPP parliamentary candidate to be today.
Let's work together to retain the NDC. When John Mahama becomes the president and you don't have an MP from the same party of the president, you can't go to him for anything. But if you vote for me, you can have an unimpeded access to the president. Recently, I heard some narratives in town concerning the road network under construction here in this constituency. I heard that the NPP parliamentary candidate claiming he was the one that ensured the award of the road contract. I tell you on authority that he is a big liar. I'm the one that has ensured the construction of this road. I have the document to prove that. I'm challenging anybody who claims he was the one to also produce the relevant documents.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. As in 24-hour economy.
Our youth should beware that John Mahama is bringing the 24-hour economy, and that will lead to the provision of many jobs.
From 9 to 5 p.m. Up and 9 where Okofie. James no danger there. Sa abeku bedo yejuma. Obama yejuma 8 hours.
The NDC parliamentary candidate for the Ayawaso West Wogon, John Dumelo, underscored the need for peace and unity in the party in order to retain the party to power.
Now, issue 2024 year, John Mahama so Obesanso be the president. Now, issue 7 December 2024 is Amaso Mura Parliament. And so, Asem Kro na mepena meka. Interventina NDC for year kunya hudem. On here.
2024, John Mahama will be president. I will also go to parliament. There is no need to be disunited. In the 2024 battle, it is the NPP that's our enemy and not the NDC. Let's come together to undertake door-to-door campaigns, room-to-room campaign, pillow-to-pillow campaign, and other campaign strategies that will make us retain the Cape Coast North seat and to win the presidency.
Door-to-door, house-to-house, room-to-room.
Cape Coast North chairman of the NDC and co-chair of the youth wing, Richard Apo, asked persons who have turned 18 to register in order to vote. This is just the beginning. What lies ahead is bigger. The EC is undertaking limited registration. It is the registration of the youth. Tell everyone who has just turned 18 to go and register. We are going into the elections with two people, Dr. Kwame Mentanyako and John Mahama, who is bringing the 24-hour economy. The youth wing in the Cape Coast North constituency says it will never rest until their candidate, Dr. Kwame Mentanyako, is retained as their MP.
In other stories, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has indicated that the elimination of ghost names on the National Service Scheme and Senate payrolls has saved the country more than 500 million Ghana cedis after fingerprints verification systems were introduced by the government in the two institutions. The Vice President, who was speaking at the 14th Annual General Meeting of Heads of Anti-Corruption Agencies in Accra, indicated that revenue leakages at the ports, passport and driver's license offices have been blocked after introducing paperless systems at these institutions.
Perhaps one of the most significant results of our digitalization agenda has been through the integration of the public sector databases using the Ghana card as a unique identifier through biometric audits. We have been able to see the removal of 29,000 ghost pensioners from our national pension scheme, the SNIT, and it is saving us 480 million Ghana cedis annually. And a further 44,707 ghost workers were eliminated from our national service scheme payroll between 2022 and 2024, saving us a further 356 million Ghana cedis.
Health authorities in the Bono East region are calling on the general public to take advantage of the African Vaccination Week to receive their COVID-19 jabs. Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomaku-Boateng, says the move would help provide herd immunity against COVID, with other 40% of the region's targeted population yet to receive the full dose of the vaccines. And Nasabit has more.
As part of the African Vaccination Week, the Bono East Regional Health Directorate is urging the general public to take advantage of the celebrations to get their COVID-19 jabs, which are available at the various health facilities across the region. Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomaku-Boateng, says the Ghana Health Service is working towards routinizing COVID-19 vaccines across the country, and all persons are eligible with the exception of pregnant women and children under 18.
If you look at Bono East for 2023, we recorded 18 positive cases of COVID. And then the 2024, we have recorded 2 positive cases. And these are the cases that did not come to the hospital. As of, you remember the epidemic where the pandemic people would come with signs and symptoms and you thought they were having COVID. These cases were picked from what we call our surveillance units. So we have facilities across Bono East and even across the country where we've mounted surveillance continuously. We are monitoring the cases of COVID in the population. We pick these cases from these surveillance, sentinel surveillance sites. And I want to use this opportunity to let the general public also be aware that we are now going to routinize COVID vaccines. We are going to stop this campaign. We are not going to stop drastically, but now anybody who qualifies for the vaccine can walk into a facility and have it, as all the other vaccines that we have seen.
He says the time has come for all to embrace the vaccines and do away with the myths and misconceptions associated with the vaccines, and asks that vaccines save lives.
The obvious questions then will come, and we know the myth around these vaccines, which we have discussed. I quite remember even at Jubilee and in Bono East, where the women, one of the classical one that they were saying is, the moment you have the vaccines, you'll be infertile for 10 years. The men will be impotent for 10 years. You become bald. I was already bald, actually. But these are things that for all of us in this room, ourselves, our family members had the vaccines. Our dear ones also had the vaccines. We saw that these were what really myths that people were having. And so we will advise people having the opportunity to take advantage and because vaccines really saves life.
Dr. Fred Adomaku-Boateng said the Directorate has instituted a surveillance system to enable it to identify new cases as and when they get into the region, but was quick to urge all to get their vaccines.
We know that the pandemic or the epidemic-prone nature of COVID, once somebody gets it, the cascade nature in the spread. So the Sentinel is able to capture them wherever they are coming from. Though we are shrunk with the middle, highly populated, with the influx of all people internationally, locally. So we will say that, look, we will continue, but we are not going to wait. The most obvious and the easiest that you can do is protect people, and that is the vaccination, that all of us. With the difficulty in knowing all these, your best bet is what? Get the vaccines and be protected.
The Blue East region has about 52% of the region's targeted population receiving full doses of the vaccines and about 65% receiving one dose of the vaccine. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
Away from that, the Ghana National Association of Authors and Publishers has announced a price hike in books, including fictional and non-fictional textbooks for preschool, primary, junior high school, and senior high schools. Effective September 2024, prices of most textbooks will go up by at least 60%. The association attributes the adjustment to escalating port charges, including the COVID-19 levy and AU levy, and the high value-added taxes on imported books.
High inflation, increasing fuel prices, rising exchange rate and high import duties are factors considered in increasing the prices of books. According to the Ghana Association of Authors and Publishers, it cannot sit unconcerned for the book industry, which contributes significantly to economic growth, to collapse. At a press conference in Kumasi, President of the association, John Akwesi Amponsa, highlighted the challenges in the book industry, mainly due to high taxes.
In recent time, macroeconomic indicators such as higher inflation, high interest rate, high exchange rate have called on us to take serious actions to remediate our industry from collapsing. Government, directly or indirectly, in its bid to avoid higher importation of books, has come up with several elements within the documents we have. This is a trade document. If you go to the port today to clear 140-feet container, something that is already stated to us that no port duties because of Florence Agreement, you end up paying about 290,000 Ghana cedis to clear books for kindergarten, to clear books for crèche, to clear books for primary schools.
Mr. Frimpong says the industry players are not enthused with the hikes in the prices of books. From September 2024, primary school textbooks selling between 50 and 60 Ghana cedis will see a significant increase to 80 Ghana cedis, while books for junior high and senior high schools currently sold at 50 to 80 Ghana cedis will increase to 80 and 180 Ghana cedis. The publishers are urging the government to withdraw taxes imposed on imported books.
From September, credit for bulk purchases in exceptional cases shall not extend beyond 40 days from the time of purchase and delivery at a discount of 10%. Again, we also want to make a passionate appeal to government that this is phase one of our reaction to prices. Phase one. Phase two is just at the corner. We are pleading with the government. We know he has the strongest arm, but we are pleading with him to do something about the VAT that he has recently introduced on books.
For Joy News, Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom, Kumasi.
Now let's go to WA, where the Municipal Chief Executive for WA, Isaku Tahiru Mumin, has stated that the construction of an irrigation at Berihi will improve the living standards of the people in the area. The 19 million Ghana cedis irrigation project, which is funded by the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority and the Government of Ghana, upon completion, will employ 5,000 people in the enclave. Unlike other irrigation projects that have been initiated in the past and which have failed, he assured the people that the latest irrigation project won't fail. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Perili.
Unlike their counterparts from the southern Gulf of the country, where they have 2 rainy seasons and are able to do all year-round farming, the situation in the northern belt is quite different. They depend on 1 rainy season, would last about 5 months, and a drought that lasts for about 7 months. More than 60% of the people in the enclave are farmers and sometimes are unable to have a successful farming season as a result of the erratic rainfall pattern. Government, in its bid to address the concerns of farmers in the area, included the construction of irrigation dams on the second phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. One of the beneficiary communities in the Upper West region is Perihi, located in the Wa municipality. Wa municipal chief executive Isako Movement explains the motive behind the siting of the project at Perihi.
And then we have realized that augmenting the phase 2 with availability of water in the various communities is key for the success of the Planting for Food and Jobs phase 2. And I think that is why today we represented the government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia to come here this afternoon to hand over site for the construction of an irrigation dam.
It is an 18-month project and awarded to Mokolam Ghana Limited.
Yes, the contract sum is 19 million Ghana cedis. It's a big project. It's a very big project. A dam that can hold about 1 million cubic of water. It is not a small place. And aside that, the dam is there. We also have an irrigable area. So where there will be a vast land, to be distributed among members of the community, those who be interested to work, those who be interested to involve in a dry season gardening and farming. So there is a lot. So here we are looking at an average, depending on the areas that are going, those who are going to go into the dry season farming, we are looking at not less than 500 people, especially in the gardening. But the other areas, the numbers, especially those who have registered, we can count about 1,000 plus.
The site was handed over to the managing director of the company, Samsadin Shafik, at a beautiful ceremony at Perihi. Unlike other irrigation projects that have failed in the past, Isako Movement assured the people that this project won't fail.
We have reviewed the previous strategy, and we have realized that now we have to have what we call an all-embracing program. And this program includes sensitization. And if you remember, media were invited one time to go at the Municipal Assembly where we launched the Planting for Food and Jobs phase 2. And we made it clear to the people that this time around we are not going to launch the program and go and sit down. Sensitization is another key issue that we have to consider. So we are sensitizing the people and letting them understand what the goods and the benefits of this program is and how potentials are abound within this particular program, so that they should get up and embrace it.
Upper West Regional Manager of the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, Jida Suleiman Otino-Wusu, urged the people to take advantage when the dam is completed to better their lives.
Alhamdulillah, or inshallah, when the facility is constructed, I will urge every one of you to put it to good use for the benefit of all of us. It will be an opportunity for us due to our proximity to our market. So please, let us all take advantage of this and improve upon our life.
Reporting for Dwe News, Rafik Salam, Perihi.
Now, the highest and most revered seat of Asante's, the Golden Stool, otherwise known as Sike Dwakofi, is expected to be outdoored at the Grand Derby to climax the Silver Jubilee of the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II. The stool, believed to have been conjured from the heavens by the revered Asante priest Okomfo Anokye, will be part of the full traditional processes of the Asantehene on Sunday. The committee, spearheading activities of the anniversary, has also instituted measures including a ban on tricycles and closure of some routes within the precinct of the Menchia Palace for safety and security of the thousands of people gracing the occasion. Asantehene Nana Otu Osorebo II is the chairman of the Otumfuo 25th Anniversary Committee.
So preparations are hurriedly shaping up here at the Menchia Palace for the Grand Derby of Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II Silver Jubilee anniversary. That will be happening here at the Menchia Palace, and as you can see behind me, those are some of the stages that will be mounted during this particular Grand Derby. On Sunday, A lot of people are expected to be here. We're talking about the President of Ghana, some foreign dignitaries. We understand that the Tobago or Trinidad Prime Minister will be here, a representative from the Ivory Coast, and also the Foreign Minister of Morocco. All are expected to be here for the Grand Deba, the climax of everything regarding Otumfuo's Silver Jubilee. There have been a raft of measures that have been put in place by the committee spearheading this particular celebration. Take a listen to Asantehene Nana Otuo Serebour II.
Na ansa Japan babano sabe ebe prepare ho adie ho ni bio ndi memenda ayabai eyeda pa no sie na prapra ye kuma se bontenso.
On Saturday, there will be a general cleanup exercise at various paramountcies in the region. We'll be closing some major routes within the environments of the palace. We'd implore the tricycle riders not to come within the precincts of the palace.
So for those of you who have never sighted the Sikeja Kofi, that's the golden stool of the Asantes, it will be unveiled on Sunday. It is expected to be here as part of the full regalia of Asantehene, climaxing his 25th anniversary.
The Asantehene will be coming with his full procession, including the golden stool Sikeja Kofi. This is to showcase the rich culture and tradition of the Ashantis.
So on Sunday, hundreds and even thousands of people are expected to troop in here at the Menchia Palace for the climax. We're talking about some government officials and even foreign dignitaries will be gracing this particular occasion. And we understand security measures have been put in place to ensure the successful climax of the 25th anniversary of Otumfuo II. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Quick.
Well, that will be all for the AM News. Up next is a news review. Please, don't go away. You can just hear Aisha's words saying news is important to us. It's all around us. It's what. So this news that's important to us and all around us, it's time for us to get into the ones that have been captured in the, the various newspapers. Welcome aboard the newspaper review segment. And of course, Benjamin Akapo is here. Blue, you see the color of your eyes.
It does, huh?
Yeah, blue looks really
I mean, for a moment, I thought you were going to say I had blue eyes. I mean, which color scheme are you looking at?
But just before we usher in our guests, Benjamin will tell you about Endpoint's Homeopathic Clinic and some of the amazing free services they're offering.
Well, now that she's put it that way, what can I do? Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic every weekday helps us bring you this segment. And as always, they're bringing you same. If you're a man, they're offering you prostate screening. If you've not seen my prostate watch, you should check it out because there are so many things that could go on with your prostate. I'm personally dealing right now with someone who has some, really harsh consequences as a result of prostate disease. You don't want to get that. If you're a woman and you don't know what your fertility status is, I mean, there are so many things that could happen, especially if you've not given birth and you want to do so. That is why you ought to get yourself screened from time to time. Some people in these two areas, they've never checked anything. They just feel, oh, everything is fine. But that's how our bodies are. Without checking, you will not know. You can get this free screening from Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic at any of their branches. Starting from here in Accra, they are at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Then in Kumasi, Konoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady, Anaji State, Tema, Community 22, Techiman, Hanswa, and Asiamah. If you'd like to call them, there are two numbers, 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Oh, this morning you didn't join me. Let's do it well. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic.
The end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the start of the newspaper review segment. Why am I just hearing other people's words in my head this morning? But joining us for this segment is Nana Sapong. He's political assistant to Alan Tremantin of the ARC. Nana Sapong, welcome to the program. Hope you're well.
Grace has found me, my sister. Good morning.
Great. So, like we do, you have just about a minute, at most two, to react to something that's occupied space in your head. Could be political. I mean, what's on your mind this morning?
What's actually on my mind this morning has to do with the natural resources of our nation. And yesterday, I think some of your newspapers actually had the opportunity of carrying it out. If you did look at the Chronicle, it was talking about the 100% ownership of the natural resources by Ghanaians. And there were a few points that were made clearly by the leader of the ARC. And I think that what I would want to say about it is that it is high time that we actually stop doing politics, partisan politics with certain aspects of our national economy. And if we did so, it would help us. We need to be able to look at it holistically, and also because it is of high interest to Ghanaians and it has a direct effect and impact on Ghanaians, we should be able to look at those issues with a clear mind, non-partisan mind, and issue recommendations that would help growth of our economy. Basically, that is what I actually wanted to make a point on. Thanks.
Right. Point noted. Let's get straight into the newspaper, starting with the Daily Guide newspaper. On the front page, it says NDC goons fired shots at Peace Council. EC bounces NDC BVR request. Baumia eyes blockchain to fight corruption. Security chiefs visit troops in Sandema. And over 2,000 registered babies fatherless. That's a report. Let's start with a story about EC bouncing NDC BVR request, right? And it's on page 3 of the Daily Guide newspaper. And it reads, the Electoral Commission has turned down a request by the National Democratic Congress for serial numbers of the biometric voter registration kits currently deployed in the field for the limited voters registration exercise to be supplied to the party. The Commission said releasing these serial numbers to any external parties, including political entities, poses a substantial risk to the security and integrity of the registration process. Quote, the Commission wishes to highlight that the integrity and security of our electoral processes are paramount, the EC indicated in a statement released yesterday. I'll put a pin in that, do 2 more stories before we take our reaction so that we can beat the time. Over 2,000 registered babies fatherless. That's also on page 3 of the Daily Guide newspaper. The 2022 statistical report on birth registration revealed that a total of 2,099, which is 0.3% of all registered births, have doubtful paternity cases, situations in which the identity of the father of the child is not known. The Upper East region has the highest percentage of doubtful paternity cases, followed by Central region and then Western region and the Volta region. Now, almost all registered births, 99.9% in the Upper West, Bono East, Ashanti, Savannah, North and Northeast regions, are known paternity cases. That is, the identity of the fathers are not known. That's an interesting one. And then the final story I'll do before we come to some reactions will be NDC goons fire shots at Peace Council. So the National Peace Council has refuted claims by the chairman of the National Democratic Congress that it's misled the party to withdraw its agents from the Electoral Commission's strong room during the collation of the 2020 presidential election. Mr. Asiedun Ketia recently attacked the integrity of members of the NPC at a meeting with some members of the party. He asserted that the NPC promises to call a meeting with stakeholders to discuss the escalating tension at the time, where the reasons NDC agents left the EC strong room, indicating that it was not done out of their own free will. Nana Sapong, these three stories for your reactions.
Okay, so the first one I would want to look at that which has to do with social services. In my view, that has to do with the birth and death registry, registering some children who are fatherless.
Yeah.
I would want to say that every child has a father, of course, but they are not known, unfortunately. This to me is something that we ought to be able to look at as a people. We should be able to orient our girl child to be able to speak up. If you push further these women who have had these children in these hospitals, you would realize that they do know their fathers, but probably for certain reasons, they do not want their fathers, the fathers of their children, to be known. And these are very good for our documentations, and so they should be able to orient these mothers when they start their antenatal care. And once you have a mother's name in the antenatal care book, I think from the onset, the father's name should also be able to appear on the antenatal care book, so that just from the pregnancy, you know who the child's father is.
Right.
Fathers, we are being more responsible lately, and I think that it's a hard time that we take responsibility of our own actions, and it's good that we know. It helps the children. I mean, these things have long-term effect on the psyches of these kids, especially when they grow up in societies and they begin to attend schools and you are asked about your parents and you do not know who your father is. Really has effects. Even children who are born through the artificial
insemination,
way, the hospitals still have details of fathers who donated their sperm. So it's always good when you know your parents. It helps. Okay, so moving on to the issue about the elections, that is the release of the serial numbers of the kid by the EC. I want to come out from the point where the preparations started. I said earlier on the platform, I said that there were certain recommendations that would have come during the IPAC meetings. The EC has made us to understand that the IPAC meetings is not a decision-making body, we understand, but there would have been some recommendations that would have come towards the preparations and towards the registration of the new voters. We should be able to go back to those recommendations that were made, because the parties that were represented would have satisfied if such recommendations were being implemented. On the other hand, what is the other party's also stance on the EC's decision not to release this year?
I'll pardon my interjection, but I feel you're not hitting the nail on the head. The issue has arisen. We know of the BVRs and BVDs, some of them missing, some of them stolen apparently, others sold off or auctioned. And now, in respect of these kits, the NDC is crying foul that, listen, in that case, if you say it's a batch, a certain group, and this and that, give us serial numbers so that we can track each one. And the EC says no. In fact, it says its rationale, it cites security risks, integrity of the electoral system, operations of the... Please, if you may, let me land. Then integrity of the electoral system and its operations. You are assuming that IPAC may have said something about that. We don't know. So we're asking, what is your thinking on that? The MPP, you said you didn't know whether any other party had spoken. The MPP has said, I mean, this is much ado about nothing. You know, there's also the problem of if the NDC is in power and the Electoral Commission does anything, the NDC will support the Electoral Commission. If the MPP is in power, the Electoral Commission does anything, the MPP will support. Those are the angles we want you to look at. Nanaya.
So as I was saying, whatever that the other parties would have said, okay, would also have an impact on the decisions of the EC. Now, what I am saying is that there should be a meeting point. What is the effect of the release of these serial numbers? Has it any security implications? Now, if there are, what are the security implications? Because mostly what we do, most organizations do, is that we run under the carpet under certain terminologies. Now, if we are the parties that are involved in these elections, if we are stakeholders in these elections, and these are tools that you are using for these elections, and we are requesting that you present to us the serial numbers, one, because you say that you have issues and that you have to actually let go some old ones and you have to bring in some new ones, we should be able to know, in fact, which ones were let go, which ones have been brought in, and what impact it does have. We should be able to track certain lines, because at the end of the day, the new people you are registering, so we are the same parties, including we those who are running independent. We are the same people that
Nana, are you backing calls for the release of these serial numbers? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying the ARC would also want the EC to release the serial numbers, even on the back of them saying that it will allow, unauthorized access, targeted attacks on these devices, which could affect the integrity of the elections?
When you are releasing certain information to certain stakeholders, I believe that there is a code within which you are able to release these informations that does not trigger security breaches. And so if there is a system where it can make everybody know and everybody be satisfied, because we are talking about elections here, and the piece of the election which we are calling for starts from these levels of preparations. So if from the beginning or from the start of the game, certain parties are unsatisfied, then it has a long-term effect on the end of the day. So if we want to actually have peaceful process and have a peaceful election, let us start it from today. I mean, the NDC is already accusing the National Peace Council and that prior to the release of the results in 2020, they were convinced to leave the EC strong room. You understand? The Peace Council is already being compromised. So in my view, even the NDC does not trust the Peace Council again.
Right.
And so if we have any opportunity to be able to prove ourselves as an institution that we are able to handle this election peacefully without any interferences, then let us be able to satisfy every single stakeholder's own interest. And that is what I'm talking about.
All right.
I mean, there are definitely ways the EC is able to release these kinds of informations without triggering any security breach.
All right, points noted. So I'll do some more quick headlines and then we move on to the Daily Searchlight before Benjamin comes in. Mahama setting stage to blame EC when he loses. That's according to Dr. Samuel Doche. Capacity training of climate change CSOs needs to be enhanced. Takrady Port supports Western Region GJA. Media blackouts on Farouk Aliu Mahama lifted. 125 gets Goldfield scholarships. On the back page, making our stadium safe, biggest tribute to May 9th victims. And then kissing FA boss stands trial. That's the story of Jennifer Homeso, who embraced Luis Rubiales after he won the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. And that's that for the Daily Guide newspaper. The Daily Searchlight on the front page, is he eligible to contest election 2024 or not? Supreme Court to decide John Mahama's fate. Mr. Promiser Baobia with more wild promises to turn universities into mining companies to buy caterpillars for miners. Looting of state lands in Wa to end. Attorney General calls for full media coverage of cases on human sexual rights and family values bill. We've delved into this. My goal is for Ghana to have the first blockchain-powered government in Africa, according to Dr. Bawumia. Those are just some headlines. Because of time, Benjamin, unless you have some reactions to this, let's get into your papers.
No, I do not for now. Are you going to take any reactions from Nanayo, or should I come in?
Nanayo, any of these headlines you want to react to quickly?
Yes. First of all, we would plead with, I just want to plead with the Supreme Court. I think that this case has been there far too long. It's becoming very sensational, and that the decision of the Supreme Court has an effect on many people. And so it is time probably that they come out with their decisions once and for all, whether or not he can run or he cannot run, because this is a whole, they are a stakeholder in Ghana's democracy, looking at the previous elections that we have held. Now, on the other hand, about that which has to do with our, I don't know if you mentioned it, the growing of trees and our forestation.
No, I didn't.
Believe,
but go ahead.
Okay, then I have it written down. So I think let's move ahead then.
Benjamin.
All right, let's check out some stories from the New Finder newspaper. Jinapo calls for increased forest finance at UN Forum. Forward operating base in Sandema, vital in fight against terrorism. That's according to security heads. EC and NDC clash over BVR kit serial numbers, and then will adopt blockchain for data security and detect corruption. That's according to Dr. Bawumia. You know, so many things are being thrown in on the technological front. My head is beginning to spin, and I'm beginning to ask, I'll reserve my thoughts.
Man, why are you reserving your thoughts?
No, because we are being hit with so many technological this and technological that, but you look at even our technological basis, the basics we could have, and you begin to ask yourself, are we not, it's like that saying, when pigs fly, or building castles in the air. I mean, it must be progressive, but you don't see certain infrastructure even yet, and yet we're dreaming of certain things, and sometimes it just makes you wonder whether we are building on sand or building in the air. But anyway, let's get details of that story. Let me bring you details of that, then you can react. The story is on page 8. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says the next stage of Ghana's digitalization journey is to become the first blockchain-powered government in Africa to fight corruption. With the increasing infusion of digitalization into the provision of government services and everyday life, adopting blockchain is the highest level of data security in the provision of such services. The blockchain technology is capable of identifying and discovering any changes in digital data to trace all transactions in the governance space. I've also heard him level accusations against different groupings, and but anyway, like I said, that is that. This one as well, organizational culture key to business success. Ken Thompson says so. Director of Dalex Finance, Ken Thompson, has challenged businesses in Ghana to prioritize the development of a robust organizational culture to ensure their survival. Many Ghanaian businesses grapple with establishing a positive organizational culture among their staff, resulting in various challenges which negatively impact the organization. And he says organizational culture is key to business success. Quick thoughts on this before I do other stories?
Yes, Ben, as you were saying, I have also had issues when government is trying to push down our truth, the issue of on digitalization, and we are running almost everything around that. And then we would ask our questions as you have asked. Do we have the infrastructure to support what we're talking about? We actually spent so much of our time and our money building on something that has no foundation. And at the end of the day, the wind would blow and everything goes down the drain. If we're able to sit down for a minute and think through about it, build the foundation, have a proper infrastructure in place, that we also have proper human resource training, that they are able to actually also implement the policy framework on digitalization that has a long-term effect on the entire economy, then we will be talking about digitalization. But I think that we actually running ahead. We always want to do things without putting down the fundamentals. When we have something we call the business regulatory reforms that actually had to do with bringing about tools to help all businesses, put them on one platform that they're able to actually access registrations and other services online. This was done by the Ministry of Trade and Industry. I think it was 1927, end of 2007, beginning of 2018, 2018, thereabout. Now you would understand that it took the ministry a very long time, almost a year or so, to be able to establish and make its agencies and the agencies that are involved understand the whole idea of business regulations and putting it on one platform. We're able to gather all the data that we needed from all these agencies, from the Ghana Standards Authority, from the FDA, from the Registrar General's Department, and all of that. If you have a solid foundation, building becomes very easy and you are able to move faster. So I think that we need the infrastructure, we need the foundation well done, and then we can have a solid digitalization. That one would help us as a nation. Yes.
Right. Let me quickly get on to other stories. 2 alleged WhatsApp hackers arrested for stealing 200,000 Ghana cedis. Now, in a significant crackdown on cybercrime, Ghanaian security agencies have arrested 2 young men, Abdul Latif Abubakar, 22, and Mahmoudou Arafat Yasser, 24, for their involvement in a WhatsApp fraud scheme. Now, the arrest took place in Langbensi and Gambaga in the northeast region following an extensive intelligence-led operation. The operation was spurred by a report from a Ghanaian living in the United States who fell victim to a WhatsApp account takeover, a sophisticated form of cyber fraud. Through this method, the perpetrators gained unauthorized access to WhatsApp accounts by manipulating the account verification process to obtain the required 6-digit verification code. How does that happen, though? Because if you have 2-step verification or authentication, and we're supposed to be safe, right? Anyway, so once they had access, the suspects contacted the victim's friends and family to solicit funds under various guises, leading to substantial financial losses totaling more than 200,000 Ghana cedis. Now, that is a cause for worry. But let me just add this. Let me just add this, and then we can all react to them. Installation of new traffic lights in Tamale begins after youth petition. Installation works for additional traffic light systems have begun in the Tamale metropolis after a youth group petitioned the authorities in the area. It has to do with Sarah Junction. But I bring that up as well because many pockets of Accra, I don't know whether right before you connect to the beach road in front of La Palme, Royal Beach, and then Labadi Beach Hotel, whether that has been rectified. Oftentimes that stretch has problems.
It's not. It's one of my regular routes. It's not.
I know places in East Legon, around the University of Ghana, saying, I know so many spots, Achimota, there are certain spots, and the last time I nearly witnessed an accident because the traffic signals were not working. Everybody was trying to. And sometimes it does result in accidents. I don't get it. Would you like to react first?
It's gotten to the point where sometimes, before I can remember when that happens, some individuals, opt to help, direct traffic so that there's some...
Yeah, but that's not even their role.
Not anymore. These days, you see someone standing there trying to take control of the situation, and drivers don't even want to care that there's someone trying to help us restore some sort of sanity. Where are we going with this?
But that is where the police, the MTTD, also
they seem to be
because these spots are known. They are known. Yeah. Everybody knows that these areas usually have problems. Danaya.
Yes. So I'll start from the traffic lights. That is very important for all of us. I as it stands, almost on all our major roads, the traffic lights are not working. And what is actually also alarming is our street lights that do not function. Now, Accra and other major cities become dark at 5 p.m. And this actually, to me, poses a security threat. You would have people who hide under these lights, especially with on the roads where we have little flowers and trees growing. They hide under the bushy places, and then they launch attacks on their victims. I think that the MMDAs should take certain responsibility. They are in charge of our development. They should be able to go around and identify these functioning street lights and traffic lights.
Right.
They should be able, they have officers, and they should be able to identify and make reports. They should be able to come up with new strategy. Listen, we do not have money as an MDA. Yes, okay, we understand. But you have organizations on this stretch that actually benefits from people who use these roads. So you can actually even appeal to these organizations and companies that are on this stretch to even adapt a pole of a street light, a pole of a traffic light, and then they can put in money to maintain, because it's lack of maintenance. Most of these poles are there and they're just the bulbs that are gone off, and with some few CDs you are able to repair them. But I mean, that is where they will leave some politicians to say that people have their own interests, and so they want the entire thing to go down, and then they can have new contracts and blah. But if you are a DC or an MC, if you're an assemblyman, you should be able to actually have a strategy to be able to raise little monies for some of these maintenance work.
Right.
If you take your bill, right, we pay for street lights. There is an item on the electricity ECG bill that goes, an allocation that goes to street lights. I have always asked myself this question: what are those monies used for? We should be able to actually have a new strategy. Now on the WhatsApp.
So it has to be very quick. We have about 3 minutes left. So and I've not done the daily graphic. So please. I'll
be done in a jiffy. Now, what we should know is that we, the users, should be extremely careful. All right. Just last week, I had a very senior honorable man WhatsApping me at 5 a.m. asking me to do him a favor. When I asked, "Senior, what can I do? Do you need me to come pick you from the airport or something?" Because 5 a.m., that is actually what I can do for you. Then he tells me, "Oh, I'm sending you a number, send me 1,000 Ghana cedis." 5 a.m. So I woke my wife up and I said, Ajua, this man says 1,000 Ghana cedis this time. He says, "Has he ever actually asked you for money?" No, hold on a bit. So I kept calling the number, nobody was speaking. Then around 10 a.m. in the morning, he called me back and was like, "Nana, my WhatsApp has been hacked." So you, the other person, are they on the other side receiving the text messages requesting for monies and requesting for favors, should actually cross-check whether or not that individual who is behind the phone at the time.
Right. I think I've got some of those in the past, and I realized immediately, call the person, or I can know that this person would definitely not, and I just block and then move on before I even get in touch. So let's all be cautious.
I mean, I have to commend some of them. They send you, warnings to be cautious in dealing with these things, not to give out pins, to be sure that you're actually sending money to the people. Verify before you send. So I mean, the telcos have taken it up. I don't know what the people in charge of actually cybersecurity are doing about it.
Let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper. That's where I will wrap. 2 stories I'm going to look at. Cocoa countries oxygen. That's Boahene Edu, head of COCOBOT, saying so. And then there's also men account for 60% of deaths, blood pressure, heart failure, stroke to blame. So 6 out of every 10 deaths, representing 60.3% of all deaths registered in the country in 2022, were male. Now, on the flip side, 343,913 male births, constituting 50.30% of all births, and 333,227 females, representing 49.2% of births, were registered, giving the sex ratio of 103 men per every 100 females in 2022. Now, these revelations were part of the first ever statistical report on the births and deaths registration put together by the Births and Deaths Registry, launched at a dissemination seminar in Accra yesterday. But my worry, the fact that 6 out of 10 deaths are, going to men, you could also attribute it to the economic pressures and the things that men have to deal with all the time. Look at once you have blood pressure issues, heart failure is not too far away, a brain aneurysm or stroke is not too far away, and then if you are not careful with maybe the cost of food and everything, you may end up in a bad way. The last story, cocoa countries' oxygen. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahenedo, has urged the public to see the cocoa sector as the lifeline and the oxygen of the country's economy. His reason is that the health of the Ghanaian economy depends on the performance of the country's cocoa sector. I'm going to leave it there, but my question back to him, then it means we are running out of oxygen. Because if you look at how cocoa production has dwindled and how galamsey and other things have affected it, then it means we are literally running out of oxygen. Those are my final thoughts. In a minute, we have to go, Nanaya. Your thoughts?
I would join you to say that we should actually be in his office this morning to ask him why he's actually taking our oxygen off us. I believe that cocoa is overpraised. If you look at the economic figures, if in other countries salt and oil palm is doing over 30-something billion dollars, and we talking in single digits, then we need to actually beef up. In the year 2014. Somewhere 15th July 2014 on My Joy Online. I think there's a newspaper, there's an online publication that was done from an interview that Alan John Kojo Tremantin held that says that Ghana must think beyond cocoa. And there was also another publication in 2022 on the Chronicles that says that Ghana must diversify.
Right.
And I think that this has been a consistent call by people who understand the moving economy to actually diversify or think beyond cocoa. If you come to the Ministry of
I think,
Trade,
Nanaya, your point is made. So we must diversify, look beyond cocoa. Unfortunately, our time has run out, but we're grateful to you for joining us this morning for the news review.
On the blood pressure, I think that you forgot to also identify one of the elements seated closely by you.
Don't say women. Don't say women. I wanted to say that it's because men don't simplify their lives. But since you brought it in, that's my response to that. We don't cause you problems. You don't simplify your lives. Benjamin, we have to go.
Ben,
is it that men don't simplify their lives, or that sometimes, not all the time, women complicate them? I mean, it's an angle to look at. Nanaya, we're grateful. We're grateful for your time. Nanaya Osafo, political assistant to Alan Chemante, joined us for that conversation. Sweetie Abachi, we'll have this conversation when Muftawa is serving us sports. Yeah. But Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment as always, and they are offering you prostate screening for free and fertility screening for free. Just reach out to them at any of their branches here on Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma, here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji, State Tema Committee 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Asiamah and Zima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Stay with us. Sports is up next.
And in the quest of what they love so much, they use that as an opportunity to impact society. In 2021 in Tokyo, Alice Nana Deering became the first black female to be part of Team Great Britain for the Olympic Games, which is a pinnacle of every athlete's dream of competing when it comes to participating in major events. In 2023, by virtue of the talent she's got and impacting livelihood, the BBC listed her as one of the individuals who got on the card. And she decided that by virtue of just being a Ghanaian, she has to extend her arm to impact Ghana as well. And she's in the country to launch what she calls Swim with Your Meaning. And we'll be speaking to her to have a clear idea of what Swim with Your Meaning all is and how she began her journey and finally landing in Accra, specifically at the Achimota swim pool, to impact the next generation of potential swimmers who might equally want to represent Ghana at the Olympic Games. Alice, thank you very much for your time.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. That was such a beautiful introduction.
Thank you. I appreciate it. How are you doing?
Sweet. I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, I love being here. Everyone's so nice. It's such a beautiful country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, thanks for welcoming me.
Are you enduring the sun or you're enjoying the sun? Which is which?
A bit of both. I'm enjoying the cloud cover, I'm not going to lie. It's hot. It's very, very hot. It's very unforgiving, isn't it? The heat, it's just constant.
But were you told about it before?
I was warned, yeah. My mum, she's told me stories about here, and like she was always like, it's so hot, it's so hot. So yeah, I've been ready for it, but nothing can quite prepare you from it, especially coming from the UK where it's just rain and grey all the time. Different.
So what perception did you have about Ghana before coming?
So my perception of Ghana was all based on what my mum told me about it. So she'd tell me stories about the night markets, how she would get the bus to the library sometimes, and go to the beach with her son, my eldest brother, and it just sounded like a really beautiful place. Like she always said everyone's so friendly, so welcoming. And I've been fortunate enough to experience that I've only been here this is my 3rd day. So I've only been here for a few days, but I already felt that warmth that she always told me about. So it's been very nice for me, imagining it through the words and her narrative that she told me, and then actually getting to experience it myself. It's been really beautiful.
First time Ghanaian.
It's my first time. Yeah, I'm finally claiming my roots.
And have you tasted our food yet?
Yeah, you know, my mum cooks a lot of jollof rice. I'm constantly going home, and every time I go home, I'm like, I brought these big containers for her to do like a massive pot of jollof rice, and she spoons it all in for me. I put them into smaller containers, put them in the freezer, but she would make I think red with chicken. I only just found out it's called red. Oh, okay. I always called it chicken sauce just because I just thought it was that's what she called it to me. She called it chicken sauce to me just to keep it simple. Bean stew had a lot at home, yam, a lot of that, plantain of course, but since coming here, yeah, I need to expand my taste to fufu. My mum would eat that a lot at home, but I never had it, so I need to try it.
Earlier, you mentioned about makis. Which maki did your mother talk to you about?
She's from Osu, so I imagine it was from that area. She never specifically said a name, but she always said that there would be kiliwili. Yeah. Kiliwili, yeah. Kiliwili. I need to try that as well, because it just sounds like it's such a nice environment. Yeah. So yeah, I've got I just imagined it through the little bits that she told me. So I need to put like pictures to the words basically.
She's so sweet and kinky. Have you tried kinky yet?
No, or banku. There's a list. I think the list keeps growing. Every time I speak to someone, they're like, you need to try this. I'm like, okay, we need to make it a list. So
I'm going to introduce you to northern food because I'm from the northern region.
Please do, thank you.
Have you heard of TZ before?
TZ? No, I haven't. TZ? No.
Chou and Zafi.
Chou and Zafi?
Yes.
No, what are they like?
Oh God. It's a delicacy made out of kondo.
Okay.
So you can use it with okra, we can use it with mian kuka, oh God. I don't even know how to explain this for you to get it. But it is a special food. And in northern Ghana, especially those of us from remote areas, that's our food. Breakfast, lunch, supper.
Oh wow.
We only get to eat rice maybe during Christmas. Oh, wow. So you have to try TZ before you eat.
Yeah, I will, definitely.
You will?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll put it on my list. It's on my list now, TZ. It's on my list.
I'll have to get you some. But let me just take you back. How would you describe your life beginning, your life story?
Ooh. My life story, I've been very fortunate. Loving home, amazing mother, was very fortunate to, you know, get into swimming, have a good education, and been able to travel the world, see different cultures, see different people, hear different stories. I love hearing someone's personal stories, especially related to swimming. It's very powerful, very moving. Quite often there's so many stories surrounding trauma and bad experiences in the sport, or in the activity I should say. So I describe my life as very fortunate, and so with that fortune I'd like to leave something positive behind. I don't want to just carry on through life and not try and impact the world in a positive way. Yeah.
How did you get into swimming?
I get into swimming. So I learned to swim, got in my learned to swim lessons when I was about 4 years old. It was just like at the local pool, and in Birmingham, where I'm from, it's the second biggest city in the UK, and my mum, when I was 8 years old, when I was still doing these lessons, saw the notice board for the local swimming club, and she put me and my second eldest brother in for lessons or sessions with them. And at first I was a bit confused why we were doing it, like I didn't really understand it, but we went along on a Sunday afternoon, and it just blossomed into like something that I really started to enjoy. Really loved it, and so did my eldest brother. We started to watch like all of the professionals on TV, like the European Championships, the Commonwealth Games, the World Championships, and I just used to imagine like being a swimmer that could be that good. I never thought I would get there. I never got into swimming to go to the Olympics or to compete for Britain. It wasn't anything like that. I just enjoyed it at the time. People were very quickly saying, oh, she's talented, she could be really good and stuff like this. And I never really believed it, because I don't know, you can't see yourself from an outward perspective, can you? So I was just in the water doing my thing. Sometimes I was quite lazy, I'm not going to lie. You know, it's a tough sport. It's very demanding. By 11 years old, I was already swimming 7 times a week. So it got intense quite quickly. And yeah, I just carried on through the stages. So regionals, nationals, fortunate enough to qualify for the European Junior Championships in 2013, and that was really kind of when I realised that I could be quite good at this. Yeah. So like, you know, my first time competing for Britain, and was just so proud to make that team. It's one of my fondest memories in swimming, like making that team. And then moving forward, went to the World Junior Championships in 2016 and won the 10 kilometre race there in the open water. And again, that was another big point where I was like, okay, the Olympics in 4 years' time are a legitimate possibility for you. And that's when I really was like, okay, let's dig into this, let's lock down, let's try and be the best that you can be. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, you know, 18 years in the sport. Went a lot longer than I ever expected it to, did a lot more than I ever expected to, so I'm just grateful for everything that came my way.
Your mother indoctrinated you into swimming, actually.
She did!
Is she a swimmer herself?
She wasn't a swimmer, but she did swim. So she actually did high jump at school.
Okay.
And so she was very athletic, very sporty, and she would go to Labadi Beach and swim quite a lot. I've even seen pictures of her in the sea. And so yeah, she put us in swimming because she wanted us to do a sport, but didn't know where to start. And just seeing the notice board just felt like a natural step for us.
She betrayed the sport she did in secondary school or in school, and then pushed you to a different discipline.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why didn't I do athletics? But you know, I guess I'm very lucky that I found my sport. I realised my body, just little things with my body, wouldn't have coped with running too far, or probably wouldn't have been a very good jumper because I'm quite petite. So I'm fortunate I found my sport that could take me to the Olympics. Yeah.
You spoke about the joy of representing the Great Britain. The first time you were made to understand that you are going to the Olympics for Great Britain, how would you describe that moment?
Oh, okay. So I had a qualification race for this, and I do the 10 kilometre race, marathon swim. It's in open water, so we're in the sea, and the course was 5 laps long. Okay. And going into the last lap, I knew that I was in the position that I would qualify for the Olympics for Great Britain. So I was swimming for about 20 minutes, trying to keep myself calm, trying to keep your mind engaged in the race to make sure nothing goes wrong. But at the same time, I knew for quite a while, whilst I'm putting my body through this monumental effort, that I was going to qualify for the Olympics. And when I finally touched the pad to cement my place, it was just elation. Yeah, I just couldn't believe what I'd managed to achieve. And there was 3 other women who finished in front of me in that race, and we were all just so happy for each other because it'd been such a long period with COVID. The games had obviously been pushed back. The qualification race had been changed like 3 times before we actually got there. So it was this constant, like, when are we going to get to actually have our chance? Yeah. And so, you know, you touch the pad, you finish, and it's just the joy is just, yeah, it's a feeling that, you know, I can't quite describe unless you've had that opportunity. Yeah.
Were there moments you had butterflies in your tummy wondering, am I dreaming or it is real?
I'm still dreaming about it, to be honest. Like, I got the Olympic rings tattooed on me, as you do as an Olympian sometimes, and I forget, and I look down and I'm just like, oh, I did that. I did that. So yeah, it's still something that every day I'm just like, oh my God, I did do that. Yeah. Like, it at the time when I qualified, I only had 6 weeks until I competed at the games, so there wasn't any time for celebration. It was like, okay, you need to rest and recover from this race, and then you need to get back into hard training. So the celebration kind of came afterwards. So yeah, it's just, it has been sinking in over a few years, to be honest.
There's difference being a part of the team and being the first black to do it.
Yes, yeah. The history and the barrier breaking that came with it is really special. It's one of those things where it's a shame that we have to highlight the emphasis of being a black swimmer, because I'd love it to be that everyone swam and that, you know, there's no stereotypes surrounding black people. There's no preconceptions that black people can't swim. But I'm emphasising the point that I was the first black woman to swim for Team GB to show that it is capable for us. Swimming is a fantastic sport, it's a fantastic activity. The water doesn't discriminate because of your skin colour, and we all have the capability to learn to swim, and even if learning to swim is the first step, some of us will have the capability to compete at the Olympic Games for our country.
Is that what influenced the inclusivity thing?
Oh, what do you mean?
I've made to understand that you have this inclusivity when it comes to swimming and all that.
Charity.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I helped co-found the Black Swimming Association, which is a charity, an organisation in the United Kingdom, currently in the UK. Obviously got global eyes, essentially. You know, this is a global issue that black and Asian people swim less, that our drowning rates are much higher, sadly. But we're focused in the UK at raising the awareness of water safety and advocating for black and Asian people in swimming. So yeah, it's grown so much. It's just celebrated its 4th birthday, and we've got an amazing team that are working so hard to make sure more people are getting their swimming lessons and getting over fears of water.
So what influenced that decision to set up the swim with your men in Ghana?
So obviously helped co-found the charity, and with a charity there's obviously limitations on what it can do, and it has a very specific message of water safety, and that's what the BSA is about. And I'm still part of that. I'm a trustee and I'm an ambassador, I'm a co-founder. That's still a big part of what I do. However, Swim is looking to take swimming to people in an understanding and in a way that they have it as an individual. So starting swimming lessons with Asiamah School to get more people involved in swimming, whether they've done it before or whether they haven't touched water or might have a traumatic experience in the past, to just have everyone being in touch with water and getting that experience. Because for myself personally, it's been such a beautiful journey. I've taken so much from swimming. It's given me so much. So I feel I'm in a position with the knowledge, with the understanding and the connections that we can build to hopefully let other people experience what I've experienced. And whether that takes someone from being absolutely terrified of water and gets them into water and they feel comfortable and safe, that they can maybe, when they go on holiday, feel comfortable going to the beach or to the pool, that's amazing. Whether that takes someone to the Olympic Games for their country, that's amazing too. So it's working at all levels, whether it's learn to swim or maybe someone who just wants to improve their swimming skills because they want to do a triathlon in a few months' time or something like that.
This generally captures what swim with your meaning means, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It's about individuality within swimming. You know, so we're starting Swim Accra with Asantehene School. This is what we're here today to launch, but we're doing Swim London in a few months' time, and that's going to look very different. That's going to be a 3-day course, 3 hours each day with an hour in the water, but then sessions around that in terms of building up confidence, whether that's a yoga session, a breathwork session, a goal setting session, nutrition workshop, things like that which can add to your lifestyle, not just with swimming, but as a holistic approach. So that's how it looks in London. We're also looking at Southeast Asia at the moment, the Caribbean, North America, and whatever energy a city gives, I want to kind of mimic that back to them and help the community in the way that it needs to be helped. You know, copy and pasting this across the world would work, but sometimes certain communities might not need what London has, and might not need what Accra has, and each place is unique in its sense. So that's what the Swim With You meaning is about as well. It's each place is going to have its own energy and its own meaning, and I want to collaborate with that as much as possible to make sure the community gets what it needs.
Making it unique to...
Exactly, to the location, yeah.
So what is your ultimate goal for this?
Ultimate goal? Wow. Ultimate goal is this is a global, worldwide swimming festival, essentially, where it takes place in different places around the world with different energies, different meanings, different programs, different projects, and creates a community in each place that it touches and expands on that. Yeah, so that's the goal. It's very broad, it's very big. You know, this is our first time starting out, and it's, you know, it's going to be a good few years of hard work in setting this up, getting people to back us, to help fund us. So, you know, we're starting here, we're kicking it off in Accra, moving to London in a few months' time, and I hope by the end of the year we've had at least 2 locations that we can say, like, this is the case study, that we have the proof concept that this works, and then next year just keep expanding.
Is there a target that you are seeking to achieve by having these swimmers here? And what are those opportunities you think Swim With Your meaning presents to these swimmers? So we started off with 20 today. 20 swimmers will take part in our course over 10 weeks with 2 swimming teachers from Accra. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be here for all 10. We fly back on Wednesday, so we're launching it today, and then the remainder of the 9 sessions will be carried out here at Asantehene School with the 2 swimming teachers. But I think we've got a goal of getting about maybe 200 to 250 swimmers through in Accra over 4 years, and this is reliant on, you know, hopefully funding from people, from sponsors, from people seeing this story and seeing how it's going to impact those 20, well, I say 20 students, but they're 15 students from Asantehene School and 5 staff from Asantehene School, seeing how it impacts their lives in such a positive way, the stories that will come out of it, and just hopefully keep expanding. But that's the story for Accra. The story for London will look a little bit different, but it will still have the same element of the individual aspect of what this gives to a person. I'll come back to this very conversation. I want to talk to you about esports.
Esports, yes, let's do it.
You're a fan of esports?
I am, yeah. I'm a big fan of gaming, big fan of esports. We were fortunate enough yesterday to have a conversation with the president of the Ghanaian Esports Federation, which I thought was really positive. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm on the British Esports Advisory Board as well. I've put my foot out there. I'm just like, guys, I really like this. If there's anything I can do to help, you know, I've used video games to kind of chill out after swimming sessions, after competitions, to just take my mind away from the pressures of being an athlete. So I'm a big advocate for gaming and esports. Yeah.
There's massive pressure in being an athlete, right?
Yeah, it is. You know, your mind's constantly like, need to do this, need to do that, need to be the best. That wasn't good enough. Most athletes you talk to will never think their performance was good enough, even if they've broken a world record. There's always something that you think you can improve on and that you want to do better next time. So having something to escape to, I think, is really important.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's a certain mindset being an athlete, and especially getting to Olympic level. You have to, it requires so much time and dedication, and not saying that other things don't, but the physical and mental aspects and stress that you put your body through is something else. Yeah, it's a challenge, definitely.
But it's a challenge that you want to go through, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's that prize at the end, isn't it? You know, the Olympics and the Olympic dream fueled me for so long, you know, and the way I kind of processed it was, as I was growing up, I would only look to the next stage. So I'd made county level, and the next stage above that is regional, so I'd only look at regional level. Then when I made regionals, I'd look at national level. And I just kept moving through kind of that process. Eventually, you know, through talent, through hard work, dedication, whatever, get to the point where the next level for me was the Olympic Games. And then it was kind of like, okay, well, I'm here, like, let's try, you know, let's see how far you can take this. So that was my process with it. I didn't want to set my sights too far, because then everything else in between it feels like a mountain. You just have to take baby steps sometimes.
Then this clearly suggests that you need to have a very strong support system around you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I talk about this a lot. Very strong support system. My mum, always been my rock. She was the one getting up at 4:30 in the morning to take me training. Sometimes I felt really bad. She'd be asleep, and I'd gotten ready. I'd done everything that I could do before waking her up, and I'd go knock on her door, and I was like, "Mum, we gotta go." Sometimes it was the other way around. Sometimes she was the one up, and she was like, "Alice, are you getting up?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go." Like, it was long days, difficult days, you know, weekends spent at competitions, at hot pool sides. So much time and effort and dedication went into what I did as a junior growing up through swimming, and the effort that my mum put in was truly incredible, and the sacrifices that she made, that my brothers made, my dad made as well. And then moving past that, as I've grown into being a senior athlete and making this a career, the work of my agent, the work of my fiance, and just the effort and time that a lot of people have put into me, I'm so grateful for. You know, they've truly believed in me, and like backed me with time, money, effort, energy. Yeah, I'm truly blessed. Yeah.
If anyone ever told you you'll be here today talking about Olympic, you're going representing Great Britain in the Olympic Games,
man.
when you began and it was quite stressful, would you have believed it?
Absolutely not. No. You told 9-year-old me, who just loved watching people swim on the TV, watch the Olympic Games a few years later, that you'd go to the Olympics, you'd help co-found a charity, you'd set up like your own venture. I just wouldn't have believed it. Like, I liked swimming, I loved swimming, I enjoyed going to training, but I really never thought that it had that potential to literally change my life and to shape me into the person I am.
Does this mean that you never had someone you were looking forward to in the swimming field?
Ooh, like someone
like
a
Michael
role model.
Phelps?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, you see these people, you see the amazing things they do. You know, Michael Phelps, Rebecca Adlington was big one for me. She won 2 Olympic golds in Beijing. Like truly special talents. But yeah, I looked at them, but I never thought what they were doing was achievable for me. And I suppose in a sense, you know, Michael Phelps, that's something else, you know. Yeah, we don't need to talk about.
He's an impersonator.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, no one's going to compare to Michael Phelps. I mean, Becky Adlington, what she does is absolutely incredible as well. But even just looking at the level of Olympian but not a medalist, the people who went to the Olympics, I was like, wow, like, you've done that? Like, and you hear the stories of like, oh, their training regimes, their diet regimes, and you hear it as a child, and I just felt like, I was like, this isn't for me. And I was like, that's probably not going to be me. I'm actually absolutely fine with that. I'm very happy I proved myself wrong, but at the same time, I think that mindset really helped me just move through the sport at my own pace. There was never an expectation. I never felt like there was an expectation put on me at a younger age to be amazing. There were always better swimmers than me at that age, and I'm really grateful that I was able to go under the radar a little bit, take my time developing through the sport, and then blossom into like a senior athlete as I did.
Welcome back. It's another Friday, and you know, around this time, I'm going to be serving you my blunt thoughts. I have a bumper breakfast ready for you as I talk about different matters of national scope, companies exiting Ghana, and why the EC and everything that is happening in between, and the SML report by KPMG. That's why I've titled my blunt thoughts this morning, A rabid economy, a report shrouded in secrecy, and an embattled EC. Wahala day. A rabid economy, a report shrouded in secrecy, and an embattled EC. Wahala day. Even before I get to the slides, now, in recent times, we've heard of Dr. Stephen Amoah, who is a deputy minister at the Ministry of Trade. He's now been designated a deputy minister of finance and everything in between. Say that Ghana is the best place to do business on the continent. Come to Ghana. But at the same time, you would hear the likes of Professor Mensah talking about the uncomfortable economic situation in the country. In fact, the likes of FABAG, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, has said that a lot of these entities are exiting because of the stifling economic situation. You look at the economic indicators and wahala day on all fronts. What are you looking at? The cost of, products or the cost of raw material? Are you considering the exchange rate? Are you considering taxes? It's a potpourri of negatives. But in the midst of all of that, we really need to address why some of these entities are leaving the country. Some have come out to say, like a certain bank has come out to say that from the top, well, there is no such communication. But how about the others? What exactly is happening? Come with me. So you look at these 8 multinational companies that have left Ghana since 2022, about 8 of them. Let's look at the tail of the tape. Next slide. So date of exit, May 2024, you're talking about Glovo. They are into delivery service providers, and they cite a difficult business climate in terms of profitability. March 2024, Unilever, the Lipton tea production section. Economic challenges is what they cited. December last year, Nivea, skincare products, that's what they are into. They cite taxation and operational costs. Now, pay attention, because these things they are mentioning can hobble any company. And if they hobble a company, mind you, these entities are not here to do charity. They are here for profit. And your system must be enabling enough to ensure that while they're creating jobs and paying taxes, they are also able to make profit, right? Early 2023, Jumia Food, the food delivery service, gone. Operational and macroeconomic challenges. March, BIC, stationery. And they cite economic pressure. Okay, next slide. Then you look at some others, the precise date of exit, not concrete, but Dark and Lovely, and you know them, hair care products, and they cite a hostile economic environment. Hostile economic environment. Bet365, a betting company, unsustainable tax burden. That's what they cite. So again, the matter of taxes comes to the fore. And then Gain, we all know them, retail shops. They left, the South African entity. Financial challenges. All of these can't be happening for nothing. Something must be going on. And those things are what the likes of Professor Lord Mensah and others have been addressing. How are we resolving this? So on one end, when the Deputy Minister Designate for Finance says it's the best investment destination, the other question is, how are we trying to maintain that, even if that were the whole truth, right? Next slide. Then you look at investment destinations in Africa, Ghana's position over the years. This is why it's even more worrying. 2019, 6th. 2020, 3rd. 2022, 2nd. In 2022. But it's in 2022 that the downward spiral started. Which is why it is of crucial concern. Because if when we placed 2nd, these companies started exiting all the way till now, what it means is that positioning, that locus, that opportunity, right, is slipping past us. And of course, when companies exit, they look for the next market that will suit their purpose, which means you lose the benefits to another economy. Let's go to the next slide. But having focused on that, I'm going to turn my gaze briefly to the GRA SML contract, the KPMG report, and everything in between. I've shared my thoughts on some of these, but I just want us to quickly look at some of the timelines after President Akufo-Addo's request for an audit. So, 2nd January 2024, the president assigned KPMG to audit the deal. 27th March, KPMG submitted an audit report to the president. It took them about, almost 3 months. 24th April, the president acted on recommendations given by KPMG, giving us a white paper. 24th of April, the Media Foundation for West Africa, and when we say acted on recommendations, like I said, they gave us a white paper because, as has been intimated, the recommendations of KPMG were more stiff, dire, far more dire than what we have seen in the white paper. And the question is, why are we treating this with kid gloves? Why sugarcoat it if it is bitter? Then the Media Foundation for West Africa puts in a request for the audit report, and the president responds, rejecting the RTI request for the KPMG report, citing confidentiality and the presidency, some matters of state security and all that. Next slide. And then, this is what the presidency cites. Based on Section 51A and B1 of the RTI Act, now, request for KPMG audit report is refused. Full report comprises opinions, advice, deliberations, and recommendations that are integral to the president's deliberative process. The president has published principal findings and recommendations of the KPMG report. So, guess what? Case closed. That's what the presidency is telling us. Next slide. But what have some reactions been to this? And there's one in particular that is really important to me because it's always good to look at the past, right? Manasseh Azuri-Awini says, even when we did not have the right to information law, President John Mahama released a white paper and released the full Jada report as well. Do you remember Jada? The Akufo-Addo-led opposition MPP was the loudest in asking President Mahama to release that report, which was also a subject of my investigation in 2013. White paper, full report. We all know, unless you were not in this country, of what that Jada report, how the NDC was pilloried, and I was part of the pillorying. I was. But the report was released to us. Different strokes for different folks? I don't know. Next slide. What is Akufo-Addo hiding from us? Manasseh asks. The SML deal stinks. If they think hiding the KPMG report will make us forget the SML scandal, they should think again. The SML scandal will not die. But let's look at more. Asari says, an audit report is a public record, not privileged advice to the president. Public record, not privileged advice to the president. KPMG is a fact finder, not a presidential advisor. I love how succinctly he addressed these concerns. Professor Kweku Asari. Next slide. You have Benjamin Boakye as well saying, I am frozen. KPMG deliberated with the president on the audit. So there are too many loose ends. And as a media person, I cannot hesitate or fail to keep asking myself, why? Maba, what is in there that we cannot see? What is it? I'll leave you to reflect on that. But let's go to the next batch of items I want us to look at briefly. Now, there has arisen that issue between Imani Africa and the EC, but there's also the NDC, the most recent one, about some of these, the equipment used and then serial numbers and all of that. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just focusing on Imani Africa and the EC. So, fire sale of electoral equipment for scrap. That's what Imani has been saying. But there are some interesting bits. Let's go to the next slides very quickly. The EC says the sale was legal. It says it auctioned the obsolete 2012 equipment and it was done transparently with all legal procedures strictly adhered to. The proceeds from the auction were duly deposited in the consolidated fund. But is that the end of the story? Next slide. Imani says, why would anyone be interested in purchasing 10 used biometric devices designed specifically for electoral purposes? I am interested in this question. Why would anyone be interested in purchasing 10 used biometric devices designed specifically for electoral purposes or processes? Why? Do you know? I believe we've come to the end of the whole shebang, if you like. Why? That's what I want to leave you with. So ponder the GRA SML deal. Why can't we have the report? These equipment, biometric devices, why would any entity not go for a new one, but go for an old one, and everything in between? There are lots of questions, lots of things to contemplate. And of course, another why. Why are these companies leaving Ghana? Because like it or not, our economy as it stands hinges on some of these developments. As always, I'll lay bare the issues. You read between the lines and decipher what must be deciphered. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. I love Ghana. I'm passionate about Ghana. And no one ought to be fleeced. The truth must be said. It reminds me of my former hall at the University of Ghana. Truth stands. And that truth must always come out of our lips and out of our hearts. Let's speak the truth, bite the bullet. And who knows, maybe Ghana will be a better place. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. As always, I pray that God will bless Ghana and make her great and strong.
The Electoral Commission cannot expect the NDC to believe and trust that all is well with their equipment and their preparations getting into these 2024 December elections. Don't ask me about trust of Electoral Commission anymore. Because we all know that trust can never be the basis of any election. The NDC has always been suspicious that the stolen kits could be used to illegally register some people in order to add them to the voters' register. If hardware can be stolen under CCTV surveillance, why not an activation code? Why is the EC resisting and stopping NDC registration agents from recording the serial numbers of biometric voter registration kits? Why? The question is, what does the EC have to hide? What is their fear over the mere recording of the serial numbers of these BVR kits? What about the stolen ones? Were they not stolen together with their serial numbers? Is the Electoral Commission maintaining that the serial numbers pose security risks to the integrity of the whole system? And if so, how can the same math be telling us that we shouldn't mind? Because after all, those that have been stolen by thieves are of no consequences if they are not activated. Number 2, knowledge of the serial numbers could enable targeted attacks on specific BVR kits located at certain parts of the country, thereby causing chaos, political conflict, and operational challenges. Why? If the people down there know always the serial numbers of BVD kits that are there, and that one has not posed any operational challenge, how would the serial number of the counterpart that is used to capture the data pose a security risk? So my simple answer to them is that, Madam Jim Mensah, your release is not worth the cost of the paper it was written on. A notice is hereby served that NDC registration agents across the country will resist the EC's clandestine attempts aimed at diminishing transparency in the voter registration exercise. Let me emphasize that our agents must activate the party's high-tech application systems to transmit all serial numbers of BVR kits in their district and electoral areas to the National Elections and IT Directorate of the party, with or without the power of the Electoral Commission.
Well, and that was that presser yesterday by the NDC, Johnson Edutech, chairman of the party, reacting to some of those comments or explanations given by the Electoral Commission. Well, in the studio, we have joining us the Deputy National Director of Elections, Dr. Tanko Rashid, Computer. And he's going to be addressing some of the concerns that the NDC has been raising. And we'll be hearing from other parties as well, the CDD and the MPP, on whether this holds water, whether there's any merit to it. But there are some pieces, some bits we've put together for you on the back of this so we can walk through them. Now, the EC has reacted to the NDC's request to deploy BVR serial numbers. The NDC has requested that. So the Electoral Commission wishes to address the NDC's request for serial numbers of biometric voter registration kits currently deployed in the field for the limited voters registration exercise. The Commission wishes to highlight that the integrity and security of our electoral processes are paramount. Each BVR kit, as a critical component of this process, is assigned a unique serial number. This number plays a crucial role in the operation of these devices, particularly in the generation of activation codes essential for their functionality, as well as tracking their location and movement. Now, releasing these serial numbers to any external parties, including political entities, poses a substantial risk to the security and integrity of our registration processes. That is why this has never been done since biometric voting systems were introduced in Ghana. The specific risks are as follows, and they go on to enumerate. So let's take a look at them. One, compromising the kit security. Now, the serial numbers are integral to the security framework of the BVR kits. Disclosure of these numbers could potentially allow unauthorized access to the devices, thereby compromising integrity of the voter registration process. Two, targeted implementation risks. Knowledge of the serial numbers could enable targeted attacks on specific BVR kits located at certain parts of the country, thereby causing chaos, political conflict, and operational challenges. Then three, phishing and fraud. Serial numbers could be used to facilitate fraudulent activities, including phishing attacks, where a criminal with a serial number can trick EC personnel into believing they are registration officials, potentially leading to unauthorized disclosure and access to sensitive information. Four, operational integrity. The Electoral Commission maintains a structured protocol for the activation and operation of BVR kits designed to ensure that all devices are used solely for their intended purpose and by authorized personnel only. Disclosing serial numbers disrupts the protocol and endangers the operational integrity of our electoral system. That has been the response from the Electoral Commission. But let's come into the studio now and find out why the NDC is raising this storm. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's not always that you have a guest whose name is also Computer. How did you get that name? I'm just curious.
Well, it's my name. I mean,
it's a given name.
It's a given name. It's a name I've been using all along. And then what worries me is I have to continue to be explaining all this all the time.
I've never had you on this show, so out of curiosity, is it a given name or a name you adopted?
No, it's a name I've was given to.
It was given to you?
Yes, and
wow,
I don't know the reason behind that. It's later part that I got to know why.
You got to know why?
Why I was given that name. But I've lived with it for all this while.
I see. Let me also acknowledge that we have Haruna Mohammed, the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, on the phone. Haruna, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
Oh, I'm well. But later I'll tell you why he's called Computer.
You tell me why. You know something I don't.
I'll tell you.
Okay, Haruna, I'll hold you to that. So hold for me.
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good.
All right, Haruna, please.
I'm going to Tamale to take TZ, so I'll take some and throw some to you.
Ayo, please hold for me, Haruna. Let me start with you, Doc. Why all this ruckus about serial numbers? Never before have we heard of a situation where the EC gives out serial numbers of these BVRs or other kits to parties. Why now?
My brother, never before have we ever heard that machines have gotten missing at the Electoral Commission. Never before. This is the first time. Since 92, from Afarajan to Charlotte Osei, not even a pen got missing at the Electoral Commission. So if things have started vanishing at the Electoral Commission, it is right and it's prudent.
But this is a matter of theft.
Yes,
the Electoral Commission says, I mean, stealing, you may have processes,
yes,
but stealing happens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has never happened. With our democracy from 1992 up to now, we've never recorded thefts at the Electoral Commission of this magnitude. Thefts that borders on the heartbeat of the democracy. Because this BVR that we introduced in 2012 was another layer to help us make sure that we sanctified our electoral process. That is why we brought in the VVD. Okay, we've never had this kind of challenges that we have currently, where the commission that we all put our trust in will preside over thievery of items, that it has to take an external body to expose the thievery. For them, they were trying to hide it. Because if they hadn't been confronted at the Special Budget Committee by our minority group, Ghanaians wouldn't have known that BVRs and BVDs got missing at the Electoral Commission. And now, when they were confronted, their response was that although some components of the BVRs were stolen, you will need activation codes to use them. That was their response. That's what they told Ghanaians, that you need activation codes.
But is that not the truth?
Good, fair enough. But they didn't talk of you need serial numbers. They didn't talk about serial numbers. They said you need activation codes. So they were comfortable with the thieves running away with the BVRs.
I don't think saying that is the right thing, that they were comfortable with it. It's not the thing they would have wanted in the first place, but it has happened.
But that is what I'm saying. So why are they uncomfortable with NDC asking for the serial numbers? But they're uncomfortable with thieves running away with them. The thieves, as we speak now, are holding them with the serial numbers. That one, they don't see anything wrong with that. But I am standing here, and I'm looking at the BVR being used to capture data of people. And I just want to know the serial number of that machine. And hell must break loose. That's why am I asking for it? You won't give me that machine. Meanwhile, the machine is standing here.
What will it do? What will it add to the process if you got the serial numbers?
If they think it will add nothing to the process, why are they running?
No, I'm asking you. What do you think it will add?
We think that the manner in which the 5 BVRs were stolen give credence for us to ask for the serial numbers of all machines, because we already written to Parliament.
Right.
And to them, calling for an external body to audit the machines so that we all be in tandem. How many BVRs they have, how many BVDs they have, what are the numbers that they have in there. So that at least by now, the Electoral Commission should have informed us the serial numbers of the stolen BVRs. They, as we swear, they don't have. They themselves don't know. But they know.
So you're saying that the Electoral Commission is not willing to do this because they themselves do not know?
That is the problem we're having with them, that the 5 BVRs, can they tell us the serial number? It's one of our questions. The 35 questions we pose them. Can you give us the serial numbers of the stolen BVRs? The components, they all have serial numbers. They haven't answered it. When was it stolen? Were they captured by your CCTV cameras? Nothing. Nobody is ready to answer this.
But I hear some 4 or 5 people have been apprehended.
That is a different matter.
And are being investigated.
But arresting people and being investigated when we are doing registration and those machines cannot be located borders on serious national security issues. And that's what they should be interested in.
I agree with you, but I posed a question earlier that you haven't really answered. What does it take away? They have told you that these can't be activated, right? You can't activate it without their own systems. So what does it add or take away if these kits, this equipment is missing? What does it take away? What are your suspicions?
Look, the thieves who stole these BVRs stole it at the premises of the Electoral Commission. Okay, under CCTV surveillance, under heavily built security guards, because we have military men and police guarding the place, with armored vehicles packed. These thieves managed their way through all this process and got away with it. How many minutes will it take them to get the activation code? Because those people who were mandated to cordon the place and take care of the security of the place slept on their security and allowed this thing to go through. Is it not right on me to also believe that the same group can also give those people another activation code to go and activate those stolen items and start misbehaving with it in the field? Because the dogs refuse to back at the thieves.
But the Electoral Commission, and I'll be going to my other guest shortly, the Electoral Commission can't do that. They are not supposed to do that.
That is
why would you suspect such a thing, that they would go as far as being able to even give the activation codes to these thieves, so to speak?
The question is, the attack dogs who are supposed to back at the thieves allow the thieves to steal the item and go, and they refuse to back them. What is your guess?
Haruna Mohammed.
To add to this, why we are
just briefly on that.
Okay.
So I can...
Why we are asking for these serial numbers, we want to know which BVR is recording what name.
Which BVR is what?
It's recording what name in the field.
All right. We'll get to those details, and then I'll reiterate again what the EC has said to counter what you're requesting and the security implications. But let me come to Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. I know your party has reacted and you have said that the NDC is making a mountain out of a molehill, but shouldn't you be worried based on this? Because it could be used, whatever, if what they are saying is true, and if it falls into the wrong hands, we could all be laughing on the wrong ends of our mouths, couldn't we? Haruna.
Yeah, first of all, I say good morning to your cherished viewers and my colleagues on the panel.
Haruna, your sound is a bit low, and I would want you to just speak up or reposition yourself so that we can...
Okay. I said first and foremost, I want to say good morning to your cherished viewers and then my colleagues on the panel and yourself. Well, for us as a party, we have read the request of the NDC and the response of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. What we do know is that serial numbers has never been given to political parties in all the elections that we have held.
Yes, but as Doc, and I'm going to do this, as Doc has said, we've also never had a situation where some of these kids have got missing under these circumstances. That's the caveat.
That is not factual.
It isn't?
Because you remember the XTL issues. Machines were being transported to other areas that we never knew. The then National Youth Organizer of our party, Anthony Abai-Pakabo, had to lead a delegation to a hideout for such machines to be uncovered and all that. In all these particular processes, serial numbers of registration has never been made available to us. I have read through carefully from the little IT I have. He has an IT background, and that's why he has computer. He was teaching computer in Tamale College of Education. So he knows that if these are the systems, combined features that they use to create these codes for activation, it will be very dangerous for it to be given out. Mind you, for me, I see their request as an insult to the agents of the NDC across all the 268 centers that we have. Because every agent by any political party is required to monitor and to identify every registration machine. We have given them tally card, poll books of which these particular machines will be identified. So I'm very surprised that they are asking for serial numbers, which they know that these serial numbers of these machines are very pivotal in the security systems of the Electoral Commission.
Right.
So they are doing something they know. They know definitely what they want to use it for. And I think that it is going to rather be very dangerous for us. They are talking about missing BVRs. For me, I have called for the arrest of the persons who have indicated that there is missing BVRs in the Electoral Commission's office, because the NDC have said so. And the Electoral Commission told you, they asked people to pack machines after registrations were done. When they packed them and then they brought them, they were not up. So if they were not up, and you sit there and say that the Electoral Commission is manned by a military person, police, armored cars, and those things, mind you, this was done in North Tongue. North Tongue office is not manned by military and what have you. These officers who were using it are temporary officers of the Electoral Commission. Could there be NDC that they took this particular machine and then they have to use them for their purpose and create the agenda that, let's say that the Electoral Commission has given out, or these machines are missing? That's why I'm saying that several people have to be arrested in this particular instance. And the person that has been picked should be queried more in that, because I have the conviction that the NDC is involved in this missing BVR issues.
Based on what? And usually,
all the time they are talking about it.
Haruna, quick point. You know, I was querying him, putting him to the sword on some claims he was making. You've just made an assertion here. What is your basis? Do you have anything to back it up?
But they are the people. I am living in my house.
Haruna,
then you are telling me that in my house,
Do you have facts?
My bag of rice is missing. You are telling me that my bag of rice is missing. I tell you that my bag of rice is not missing. You insist my bag of rice is missing. So I have to arrest you. So
but the EC has admitted that these are missing. So where is this bit about?
The EC has said that they asked them to pack, and when they packed, that one was not up, and it's known. It's not Tongue.
So Haruna,
North Tongue is their own place. Could it be that they arrange with the officers to pick it, and they want to use it and want to tarnish the image of the EC?
Haruna,
the NDC has always put
Mohammed, let's have a conversation, else I may have to, if it's not going to be a dialogue, let's have a dialogue. That's why we are here. It's not about duplicating words. So please, I have to interject here.
Of the Electoral Commission.
I have to interject here.
Go at every mile to do that.
Haruna, if you keep up like this, I will have to, let's have a conversation, because we need information. That's why we have you on. So Haruna, in this instance, you are saying that this is what has happened. It could be their end that did it. Are you concerned about the fact that we still can't really identify which specific pieces of equipment are missing because we don't know what the details are? We should know which specific ones are not in there. Where are the rest? Are they all together? Isn't that reasonable to ask?
Is the rest not the machines that we are using for the registration? Is the rest we are using for the registration? Don't they have agents?
How do we know if there are not more that are missing? How do we know? If we don't know which specific ones are not in the system.
The key point here you are asking for is that they want to know that I don't work with the Electoral Commission. But I'm telling you that I have agents across all the 268. And all the places that they are BVRs they are using. In some cases, when they spoil in terms of technical issues, they change BVRs and bring them. And then they record the details of these BVRs. And then as political parties, we are mindful of those particular changes. So if you are saying where are the rest are what they are using for the registration. What is missing is what they are investigating. And they have arrested people in connection with those particular missing BVRs.
Let me bring in Guildfred Boateng Asiamah. He is team lead elections at CDD Ghana, and he's also an officer of CODEO Secretariat. Guildfred, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you as concerned as the NDC and some Ghanaians about these missing kids and what the implications could be in 2024? Your thoughts? Guildfred, I can't hear anything you're saying.
Hello?
Yes, better now. Please go ahead.
Great. The contention between the Electoral Commission and the NDC regarding the lost BVD and component of the BVR kit, I think it's about an issue of trust and also communication. There are no protocols for disclosing whatever happens at the office of the Electoral Commission. But I think in the name of transparency, maybe the Electoral Commission should be providing more information and should be proactive in communicating with its major
Gilfred, your line is a bit patchy. I'm losing you. But I hear you say that in the name of transparency, I mean, there are no regulations that say they must divulge such information. But in the spirit of transparency, they should be giving out more information. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I said. That the Electoral Commission should be communicating more with the stakeholders. So that's one thing. Regarding the stolen BVR, components of the BVR kit, such as the laptops, the Commission disclosed at the last IPAC meeting, which I participated, that they had some 5 laptops stolen at their office. They had lodged complaints that people are being taken through the legal processes. So if the NDC is worried, I think they have the right to express, their discontent about what is going on. But so far as the registration processes are concerned, I think there are enough room for the party to follow through the processes to avoid, some of these back and forth and, arguments in the media. First of all, we are all aware of the EC deployment plan. We know all the district offices where the Commission is conducting this exercise. Besides, the Electoral Commission published the movement plan, where we know all the polling stations where registrations are taking place. Party agents are allowed. They are also allowed to record the number of people who enter these registration centers and take part of the process. They can tally all the figures. They can get, at the end of every day, the number of people who are registered. So I think these are enough rooms for the parties to follow through the process, to hold the EC or any person who has any bad intentions accountable, so far as the limited voter registration exercise, is concerned. The EC has a start day procedure and an end of day procedure, and I think all these avenues provide enough room for the NDC to keep watch of the process to prevent or assuage the fears that they are expressing. In as much as, I think their call is right for more transparency, I think demanding what the EC deems to be a security protocol to their registration, getting the activation codes will be too much. And there is no need to be afraid when you have all the room to police the process and ensure that at the end of the day, the figures that the Electoral Commission produces, you can also verify those numbers.
Right. So, Gilfred, I hear you saying that it is justified to ask for these pieces of information based on everything that is happening, but it is also almost excessive to ask for the specific information they are requesting, right?
Exactly so.
Okay, so let me follow up then and ask, has the EC in its conduct shown enough good faith, goodwill to merit the trust of a party like the NDC?
Well, you see, this issue about trust has a long history. When you look at what happened at the Supreme Court after the last general elections, where the NDC thought the EC, had not conducted its affairs very well, and they wanted to hold them accountable, but the EC managed to escape that process. I think it traveled, all along from that period, till date, and that's why you see, the back and forth between the Electoral Commission and the NDC. The Commission may have failed in terms of communication, and this is very general. We see it across most of the things that they do. The communication is not proper. But I don't think it's enough to lead to a total breakdown of trust between the Commission and the NDC. At IPAC, you can sometimes see very fruitful discussions between the political parties and the electoral. And the last one that I participated, as I said, the Commission even provided now details beyond the 5 stolen laptops. They mentioned some BVD kits which got destroyed or which got lost at Tapa Yuswayim during the district level election, and also provided additional details about some of the BVDs which were not in their control because of a few issues. They opened up to meet the NDC and provide additional details because some of the information that they were requesting, the officers there could not provide because they were more technical information and IT related. So if the commission is open and if they will be open to engage the NDC, I think we should create that room for these two stakeholders dialogue and resolve these issues once and for all, because some of the demands that the NDC, are making, it's purely out of an issue of distrust.
Right. And I get that point. They are even now taking on the National Peace Council as well because of what happened. Their representative in the strong room left to communicate something, and then on the insistence of, yes, including the Peace Council, go and come. By the time they came, the results had been declared. So I guess there are trust issues that need to be ironed out before the election. But let me come back into the studio, Dr. Computer. Now, the EC has said, just to stick to the letter of what they've said, I'll just reiterate briefly, that giving out the serial numbers will compromise the kit security, which is integral to the security framework of the BVR kits, that knowledge of the serial numbers could enable targeted attacks, on specific BVR kits located at certain parts of the country, that it could expose the systems to fraudulent activities, including phishing attacks, you know what that is, where a criminal with a serial number can trick EC personnel into believing that they are actually registration officials. And again, the Electoral Commission maintains a structured protocol for the activation and operation of BVR kits. And they are saying that without this activation, these activation codes, you can't even activate them. And then they go on to cite Section 7, subsection 1J of the Right to Information Act, and it follows from there. Your reactions to these core points made by the EC, do you still not see some reason in what they are saying?
They are economical with the truth.
They are economical with the truth.
They are not telling Ghanaians the whole truth.
What is the truth?
The thing is that the BVR that you're talking of comes with a serial number. Are you with me? And that serial number, at the time of registering, the serial number is displayed there. Our agents are there. And so the things they are talking of, if the machine serial number is hidden somewhere, that is where they will be talking about it. But the thing is displayed there. Even with our agent, if you just come as a registrant, you can pick the serial number from it, the kit there. And secondly, in any case, why are they comfortable with the thieves running away with the serial numbers, but they are uncomfortable in giving the serial number to NDC? Why?
They didn't ask the thieves to come and steal.
That's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that we have a comfortable thieves. Because these are comfortable.
Yes, but I'm saying the EC didn't ask the thieves to come and steal the equipment. But the question is that
I'm describing them as comfortable thieves. Because those thieves, at the time of making away with those items, we have security measures over there.
Haruna makes a point that this happened in, is it North Tong?
It's not North Tong.
Hold on, I'm just reiterating his point. In the Tong area, and that, who knows, maybe your side actually engaged in this to engage in some sort of smear campaign against the EC and then make a whole lot of noise like you're making now.
It happened at the EC headquarters. EC headquarters is not North Tong. Accra here. It happens there. It's not North Tong.
You can say this for a fact. I have seen some back and forth on the, but you can say this for a fact.
I'm telling you, we have attended IPAC. We sat there.
Right.
At the time they were questioning them at the special budget committee, they didn't say it's North Tong. The people they arrested, are they from North Tong? I didn't see the people.
Hold for me. Haruna, where did you get this information?
Dr. Sibua made it very clear to us the last time I was in the program with him.
That what?
That this happened in North Tong.
So far, actually, that is not what I've heard. I heard about ECHQ, at least what I've followed up to this point, unless there's something that now Dr. Sribo Kweku has brought in. Because all the communications I've seen, everything else that I have heard has pointed to... That's why I'm a bit curious about where you got this information about North Tong.
Yeah, I was on News File with him, and it's your own station. I was on News File with him, and he indicated it with Samson.
All right, hold for me. So back in the studio, how much are you going to push on this matter? I mean, are you saying that without knowing these serial numbers, the election will be compromised? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, we are saying that thieves are holding 5 of them. And up to now, they cannot be accounted for. They can't get them. and we are doing registration. This registration is done both offline and online. Do you know what the offline they can do with it? The offline, after you finish putting the data in there, you take a pen drive to offload them and now go and put them into a centralized database. Somebody is having the 5 machines sitting somewhere looking for activation code. If he managed to get the laptops free of charge, the activation code, that one, they become bonus. We are saying that we want to track the registration by knowing which machine is registering which name. And that one is a hell. Give me this, you are not giving us. Our chairman, national chairman, Venerable Asantehene Ketia, instructed us as a directorate to do everything humanly possible with our agents to get the serial number. As we speak now.
But you know you would be going contrary then to the EC's directives.
What directives? What are the directives?
You're not supposed to be going. You probably might have some exchanges, unnecessary exchanges, because some of your people may be going trying to snap or take, the serial numbers. That could create confusion at some of these centers.
There's no confusion. We have them. We did it. There was no confusion in getting there. As we speak now, our IT group and the directorate are doing fantastic job. As we speak now, we have gotten the serial number.
Final words. In some 20 seconds.
Yes. So what we are saying is that we just want to protect the sanctity of our electoral process.
All right.
That's why we are doing this.
Point made. Let me come to Guildford. Final words.
Well, if anything, and if any compromise, the Electoral Commission should or must be willing to share details of the BVR, components of the BVR kit, which have been stolen. And we believe that those ones or the other components will not be used for the exercise. So the Commission can share that. And I think if anyone is interested in tracking whether those ones have been used in the registration process, then they can go ahead and do that. But besides, I think the NDC has a very good opportunity to track whatever happens in the registration process.
Guildford, thank you. Haruna, some 20 seconds. You have the final word.
Yes, thank you very much. I am very happy that my brother has admitted that across all the registration centers we have agents. These serial numbers are not hard to find. All our agents, they take cognizance of the identifications of these machines. So if you know you can get it at the polling stations, at the registration centers, why make this plenty noise out there to create this particular discussion? You are using your time to be discussing something that they should have gotten. But on the missing BVR, for me, I'm all for any investigation because I believe in transparency. And we have always championed transparency when it comes to registration and election.
Right.
So this system that we are using today, biometric system, was a thought through of an opposition party. That is the MPP. So we are very comfortable with every procedure that will lead to transparency. And
right.
we are, of course, I believe that the NDC should be much focused on the substance rather than making sure that let's go out there and tarnish the image of the Electoral Commission.
Haruna, thank you very much. You just heard Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. We also heard from the CDD and Codeo's Guildford Asiamah. He is Team Lead Elections with the CDD Ghana and Officer at the Codeo Secretariat. Also in the studio, we had Dr. Tanko Rashid, Computer. He is Deputy National Director of Elections with the NDC. Before we move on to our next batch of conversations, the fourth industrial revolution is here. But what does this mean for Ghana and Africa? Join global and local leaders to address the impact of technology at the first ever Industry Engagement Forum 2024 by Industry Immersion Africa, that is II Africa, in collaboration with the MasterCard Foundation Ghana and the Ministry of Education through the National Service Scheme. Be a part of this groundbreaking immersive experience. Now, this two-day event will serve as a pivotal platform fostering dialogue and collaboration in a bid to bridge the industry-academia gap, empower STEM graduates across Africa, and combat youth unemployment. The theme, Industry Driving AI and 4IR, that is the fourth industrial revolution in Africa, collaborative pathways for digital transformation in Ghana. The date, Wednesday the 22nd of May and Thursday the 23rd of May 2024. Every day, the time will be 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That is on those specific days. The venue is the UPSA Auditorium here in Accra. Visit www.iiafrica.org for more information and to register. The media partners for this event, Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News, and myjoyonline.com. Stay with us. Many more conversations coming your way up next.
Thank you for staying. You're still watching the AM show right here on the Joy News channel. Time now for us to have a conversation on our energy sector. We're going to talk about a power plant commissioning that happened sometime last month and the various organizations that were involved, the benefits the country stands to gain, and other matters arising. In the studio with me this morning is Ichad Razali, the EU ambassador to Ghana, Ramona Simone, Deputy Head of Cooperation for German Embassy, and Jan Emonet, Economic and Commercial Counselor of the Spanish Embassy in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Hope you're feeling good.
Thanks for
Okay, so this power plant that was commissioned in April this year, April. Before we talk about the various roles that each one of the organizations played, could you briefly tell me a bit about what this is about, Ramona?
Well, we commissioned a solar power plant, a state-of-the-art power plant that provides renewable, clean, and affordable energy to already about 50,000 households in the region. Okay. It's a beautiful project that also describes the partnership that we have had as Germany and Ghana for the last more than 10 years already in the field of renewable energies. So Kaleo is one project of that. We are very happy that we are doing this as part of the European Union within the Global Gateway Initiative. We have a Spanish contractor that was doing the bulk of the building. So we are delighted.
So these are about 4 different organizations coming together to do this. And in April, you launched this together with the President Akufo-Addo. What role did each one of the organizations play? Starting with you, Ambassador.
The European Union is currently celebrating its equivalent of National Day. It's Europe Day. And we have celebrated as well a few days ago, actually, with the government of Ghana, the official EU-Ghana partnership. Okay. And this partnership is not based on words, it's based on deeds. So energy, climate change, sustainability are key priority areas where we, the European Union, together with the member states, are building concrete projects in order to address this triple challenge: climate change, sustainability, and job creation. Okay. Because I will conclude on that, on these introductory remarks. Sometimes the idea that fighting against climate change and supporting sustainability can have adverse role against economy, growth, and job creation. Right. And we have demonstrated together in this approach what we call Team Europe, European Union, Germany's funding, Spanish building, with Viera as a partner. Okay. We are demonstrating that you can address together those challenges. You can create jobs, you can increase the energy and diversify the energy of the country, whereas you can attain as well what we call the national determined contribution of Ghana in order to limit global house cases.
Okay, so this is the European Union actually orchestrating this with funding from Germany and the building or the construction of the real work from Spain, if I get that correct.
Exactly.
And you also mentioned global climate change. Specifically, how will this project help us alleviate climate change? I mean, last month we recorded the worst heat wave ever in this country. How would this help us? Please take that question up.
Yes, it will save mainly because the project has been implemented by Electoral, a Spanish company specialized in renewable energies, with a broad expertise in more than 50 countries, I have to say. And with the implementation of solar panel, it represents a reduction on CO2 emissions in the atmosphere. So this is an example of a project in line with the climate change, with the measures that are being implemented abroad in Spain, but within the European Union. And this is a project that has been exported here in Ghana, and we are very proud of the results of the project, in collaboration, I have to say, also with a German company.
Okay. Ramona, do we have any participation of local communities in this Kaleo 2 power plants project?
Yes. So as part of the social responsibility measures, the Spanish contractor, but also VRA as a main partner. We're running several projects. So there was schools, public buildings, such as a police station, a local hospital, provided with local small-scale solar panels on their roofs so that they would directly benefit from renewable energy, cost-free. There's also been created jobs during the construction period, of course. And what we also as Germany do is, within our technical assistance, we have TVET programs for solar technicians. So we try to bring everything together so that it's as big as possible benefit for everybody around it.
Okay. So far, are there any communities currently directly benefiting from this?
As I said, Laura,
Laura,
yeah,
the northern region.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Right.
So I was talking about the regions right in the area where the power plants are built. So the power plant actually exists out of 4 blocks, so to say.
Okay.
And in Laura, all these measures have been conducted.
Okay. Jan, you mentioned earlier that the solar plants has been built mainly by a Spanish private company. So how can the European private sector better engage in development cooperation and contribute to the Ghana's quest for development?
That's a very interesting issue. Private sector, the collaboration between private sectors, indeed in the one in the European Union and the Ghanaian one, we have seen many improvements during the last years. Here in the Kaliobi project, we have an example in terms of infrastructure with Electoral providing the expertise in renewable energy, as Ramona said, with and the ambassador with the social impact in terms of education, healthcare, and the benefit on local communities. But the outcomes may go beyond this infrastructure and social impact. With regards, for example, transfer of technology, innovation, partnerships in order to share experiences between private sectors. This is something that contributes to foster the economic growth. Okay. For example, these days, the Economic and Commercial Office of the Spanish Embassy is organizing a trade mission. Currently, these days, 13 companies are here in Ghana trading with Ghanaian companies. So this is a good example what European companies can do. Developing the private sector here in Ghana, for example.
Okay, it's a great step in the right direction because we know that private sector is what drives the economy. So welcome aboard. Mr. Ambassador, excerpts from your speech on the 4th of April, you mentioned that this project is a global gateway project. Exactly what do you mean by that? And how is that interesting in terms of, again, our quest for development?
The Global Gateway is, I would say, the European Union trademark for large, significant and transformational projects, such as this one on Kaleo. And its specificity is to bring in together the best of what we have in Europe in terms of offer. And this is, I would say, an engagement that we have with very close partners such as Ghana, where we are bringing financial power force of different actors. In this project, it's the German, another one could be the Spanish, the French, the other ones, with technical expertise, this time coming from Germany and Spain, but can be coming from other. It depends on the specific infrastructure. Yeah. So I'm very proud that Global Gateway is becoming a reality here in Ghana, because when we have launched it, it's an ambition of raising 300 billion euros.
Wow.
300 billion euros.
How long ago did you launch that?
Sorry?
How long ago did you launch
18 months ago.
18 months?
18 months ago. And down the line, now we have 2 concrete projects. This one is Kaleo, which is serving the population of Ghana, which is sparing the carbon emission of 33,000 people. And we have another global gateway, which is in the making under our watch, which has been commissioned by the president as well, on the vaccines. And there again, it's a co-funding between the European Union and Germany. But in this time around, we are supporting national capacities of Ghana. So this is in motion. And as I said, countries which are closest to us, such as Ghana, will surely benefit from the global gateway.
Okay, a lot of Ghanaians are watching us right now. What would be your final words on this issue? And I'll pick just like 30 seconds from each one of you, starting with you, Ambassador, because you just landed your words.
No, the partnership between the European Union and Ghana is stronger than ever. As I say, not in word, but in deeds. We have a very sound partnership when it comes to security and stability, because without security and stability, we will not even have this conversation. Secondly, we are working very much in creating space for job creation. Job creation, and we invest in the future of the country. We invest in the youth, we invest in the knowledge, we invest in science. And the third thing, we want to leave concrete marks. And this power plant and other significant projects that we are running are concrete marks of our commitment to Ghana.
Okay. Last follow-up. What do you stand to gain from these beautiful projects? What do you get out of it?
This is a shared interest project, meaning when we are contributing to alleviate emission of CO2 in Ghana or elsewhere in the world, this is for a collective win.
Right.
So this is, I think, a no-brainer for us.
Okay. Ramona, your final words to the lots of Ghanaians watching you who are impressed with this project and would like to hear you say something to them.
Thank you. Yes, as I mentioned before, in Germany we really believe that the future is renewable, that green energies are the future of the energy supply. So I'm very, very happy that we could conduct this project together with the partners, together with VRA, together with Ghana that commits itself to renewables. And as we can see, for this power plant, nothing than the sun is needed. And in Ghana, the sun almost always shines. So I believe the future is green.
The future is green. Jan, what would you add to that?
Yes, just I would like to add that this is an example of a project that has an impact on people, that provides technology, provides collaboration between different countries in the European Union, and it provides a big value to the country, Ghana, and the private sector, and this is the way to follow in the near future, I think.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and congratulations for launching or commissioning this Kalio 2 solar power plant. I think that it will help many, many Ghanaians and contribute to our global agenda to ease climate change. In the studio with me was Ishad Razali, the EU ambassador to Ghana. Is that the correct pronunciation? Ishad Razali. Okay.
If you invite me over and over and over,
yeah, I'll get used to it.
Will, yes.
Okay. And Ramona Simon, who's deputy head of cooperation for the German embassy, and Jan Emone, the economic and commercial counselor of the Spanish embassy in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, there's still more to come on the AM show. You don't want to go away. We have more coming your way. But before I go, I want to tell you about the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, also known as Jurapa Dubai. Now, I'm sure you've seen the rest. Now is the time to see the best. You must take a break from work and take a break from the South. The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel is the best place to relax, rewind, and re-energize. It is away from the stress of the South. Now, what awaits you if you go to Jurapa Dubai? One unforgettable safari experience, amazing array of wildlife, including lions, hippopotamus, zebras, ostriches, among others, using their spacious and well-secured game tour vehicles or using quad bikes. Two, some water sports such as jet skiing, boat canoe rides, etc. Three, various family games to keep you and your family entertained and excited every day. And then there are also great tourist attractions in the Upper West region, including the Mushroom Rock, the Slave Caves, etc., that you want to see. So escape from the south, escape to the north, escape to Royal Cozy Hills Hotel for an unforgettable safari experience. You can call them on 050-169-4280 or 024-88-444-63 for reservations and further inquiries. There's still more to come. Don't go away. And we're back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, have you heard about the 3I Africa Summit that's happening in Ghana from the 13th to 15th of May? If you've not, you're in luck. Joining me to shed more light on exactly what the summit is and how you can participate and the benefits, I mean, we all stand to gain from this, is Mr. Kwame Opong, the Director of FinTech and Innovation Office at the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Kwame Opong, thanks for joining the program. Hope you're well.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to you and your viewers.
Great. I left out that he's joining us via phone, so you can't see him. Via Zoom, so, okay, he'll be put up on your screens pretty shortly. Okay, hi, Mr. Kwame Opong. So this 3I Africa Summit is happening in Ghana from 13th to 15th of May at the Accra International Conference Center. What is this 3I Africa Summit, and what are you hoping to achieve with this?
Thank you very much. So Bank of Ghana, in collaboration with the Development Bank Ghana, and supported by the Monetary Authority of Singapore's subsidiary called Elevandi, are hosting this summit in Conference Center from 13th to 15th to bring together the innovation community in the fintech space, which includes banks, startups, financial service providers, and all other third parties who play in that space, together with policymakers and regulators and investors, to achieve three key things. One, to be able to engage on matters of policy and regulation such that we can ensure that we can make progress on the policy environment and ensure that our regulatory framework is enabling, not just in Ghana, but across Africa, so that our opportunities when it comes to the digital economy can really be taken advantage of and be optimized in terms of what we get out of it. The second aspect has to do with the opportunity for African innovators and businesses within the financial technology space to get access to investment. And we've invited over 200 investors who are participating in various engagements in the summit, which includes a deal room for local fintechs and continent-wide fintechs who are looking for investments from the investor community, the global investor community, as well as local investors as well. And then finally, the last part has to do with the opportunity to engage the ecosystem of business partners or potential business partners, potential market opportunities that can be realized through these potential partnerships, and most importantly, an opportunity to showcase the innovation that is happening in Africa. So I think often when we hear about technology advancement, we forget that there's a lot of incredible innovation happening here on the continent. One of which is mobile money, for instance, which began in Africa and is now looked at as one of the world's top innovations of the century.
Okay. So what's the main theme for this year, and what are some of the expected outcomes? But before even that, we get into that. The 3 I's, is that innovation, investment, and what?
So it's innovation, investment, and impact. And this is very important to highlight because often our engagement when it comes to this whole sector has been from the impact side, right? So either we're getting grants or support to achieve certain impacts such as financial inclusion and ESG goals, etc., which is great, it's important. However, for us to really scale and be able to compete and benefit at the global scale, it is important that we get capital funding and global and local capital funding our innovations so that we can actually unleash the real potential and the true potential of Africa's fintech and digital economy potential. So this is really what we're trying to do.
Okay, so now talk to me about the theme and your expected number of people attending.
Okay, so we expect a few thousands of people. I believe we have about 4,800 registered. We have about nearly 300 speakers from around the world who will be coming to Ghana. This includes folks from the development community, from the investor community, from central banks, from finance ministries, from capital regulators, and all segments of the ecosystem.
Okay.
And the goal is to have a policy dialogue, as I mentioned earlier, The second part is to also have an engagement that allows different themes to be spoken about and understood in terms of how we advance it. So if you pick something like artificial intelligence, it's a part of your daily lives now. How do we make sure that we advance it while also protecting the consumers in Africa?
Well, there's general perception that these events are just talk shops, and most of these themes that you spoke about, like AI, there's a lot of talk happening about it, but citizens rarely feel the impacts of it. How does 3I, how is 3I starkly different from the other summits or the other areas of development of interest of development, rather?
Well, thank you. So, this is something that we also take very seriously because having these conversations is not the end goal that we want, right? But having these conversations to impact policy is important. So that's the first thing, and that's why you see us as a policymaker and as a regulator leading this conversation. The second aspect as well is that bringing together investors and capital providers and the innovators, we're directly facilitating an engagement that should lead into very tangible outcomes, which is investment in local businesses. And then the final aspect has to do with the engagement that lead to other opportunities beyond the conference itself. And so we anticipate that this would be a multi-year engagement and summit that will manage some of these important discussions that over the last decades perhaps have been a complication for us to manage as Africa.
You mentioned opportunities, like what? Just shed light on about three of them. Yeah, what are some of these opportunities?
So I think some of these opportunities include the ability for instance, Ghanaian technology providers or fintechs to easily and conveniently go into other markets, and given that they are licensed locally here in Ghana, under a very strict regime, they can have a very reasonable, process to go through to be licensed in other markets. So that's one for the local operators. The second thing is, from an MSME standpoint, some of these discussions, for instance, AI for MSMEs and some of these other innovations, can actually lead to things that we're already beginning to see. Non-collateralized lending, because many small businesses cannot get access to loans without collateral. But these are things being tested. How do we take it? How do we scale it? And finally, maybe the agricultural value chain. With all the challenges that we have seen there, agri-tech, which is technology driving agriculture, has shown itself to have a lot of promise, and we hope we can use this whole dialogue to advance that in more tangible terms.
Okay. Mr. Kwame Opong, there are many Ghanaians watching you, and I'm sure you want to reach out to them to register to attend this summit because it will be valuable to them in the areas that you've mentioned. In about 30 seconds, please speak to the Ghanaian people. To that
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So first of all, I encourage everyone to go to 3iafrica.com and register to participate. This is a very important opportunity for us as Ghanaians, having organized and facilitated the participation of nearly 79 countries here in this conference. And in addition to that, somewhere up a few thousand of people organized to really come and engage on one, showcasing African innovation. So you see an exhibition of Ghanaian and African financial technology solutions. Two, you're also going to get the opportunity to actually use some of these solutions and understand and appreciate perhaps whatever background you're coming from, how you can also understand this digital economy, what implications it has on you, and how you can take advantage of it as Africa pursues this digital economic potential.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kwame Opong, who is the Director of FinTech and Innovation Office at the Bank of Ghana. So look out for the 3I conference happening in May this month from 13th to 15th, 2024 at the Accra International Conference Center. Thank you for joining the program, Mr. Opong.
Thank you for having me.
Right. So there's still more to come. We have a plethora of conversations coming your way, like we mentioned this morning. But before we go, well, up next, we have a conversation on Edutech. Ghana's Edutech sector has rapidly expanded in recent years, offering innovative solutions to long-standing problems within the education sector. We'll be telling you more about that in a bit. Don't go away.
The MasterCard Foundation Edutech Fellowship, the cohort will embark on a transformative journey of mentorship with support from specialists in education, innovation, sustainability, amongst others. This initiative forms part of the resolve to transform the country's education and technology space by supporting small and medium enterprises in those sectors to be able to bridge the digital divide in Ghana. According to Education Minister Dr. Yaoseh Educhum, artificial intelligence is becoming an integral part of the process and will be considered as part of the infrastructure.
I'm excited. AI is changing education, and this is where we need to be, and this is where we ought to be, and I'm grateful that something good is happening. And also the public sector should look at how do we create opportunity for off-taker agreements, that if something is so good, how do we open a platform for them to practice it and to implement it so that they have the economic engine to bring about more innovation.
Incorporating AI into our STEM infrastructure?
It has to be. Most of the facilities that we're doing, we are wiring it to make sure it's 21st century ready. So it's not just doing the building, but also making sure that everything that needs to be in is in.
Head of Strategic Partnership at the MasterCard Foundation, Suraj Shah, highlighted the importance of the fellowship to job creation and quality of education.
MasterCard Foundation in Africa has an initiative called the Young Africa Works, and our goal is to enable 30 million young Africans, 70% of whom we're targeting young women, to gain dignified and fulfilling work. Now, in order to do that, we also want to make sure that we support ministries of education in improving the quality and relevance of education to enable these youth to get the skills to tackle the jobs of today and tomorrow. So we work with Ministry of Education understanding where are the gaps that they see in education and skills outcomes, and how do we bridge these with locally innovated edtech solutions.
12 companies have been selected as first cohort of the fellowship.
Welcome back. So there you have it. Now, despite all these benefits that we are gaining from Ghana's EdTech, there are still some challenges. And this morning, we have the opportunity to speak to one of the Pan-African organizations partnering with the MasterCard Foundation and the government to find lasting solutions to these challenges. In the studio with me this morning is Angela Duho, the Programs Manager at MEST Africa. Angela, welcome to the program. Lovely dress, by the way.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, so first of all, tell me a bit about MEST Africa and your missions. What do you do?
Thanks for this opportunity to share our story and our impact. MEST Africa is an entrepreneurial training program, an incubator, an investment fund, and also an accelerator for companies in Ghana and across Africa. We're focused on supporting young people. So typically, every year, we bring about 60 young people from across Africa to train them entrepreneurs, because this is a fully paid program that they have here in Ghana. We bring them to Ghana for this. We also support a lot of businesses in Ghana, so existing businesses that are looking to scale their impact. And we do support them to strengthen their operations and gain a lot of market access. So we've been doing this for the past 15 years, and it's been great. There's a lot of impact in the markets that we've done. In the past 15 years, we've been able to support at least 2,000 young entrepreneurs. We've been able to support about 200 companies in scaling our impact and also scaling their impact through our work and our joint effort.
Okay, so talking about upscaling other organizations for impact, you partnered with MasterCard Foundation in terms of expanding the EdTech industry. Tell me a bit about the partnership and what you hope to achieve with that partnership.
Great. So the partnership with MasterCard Foundation actually goes way back. So in 2018, MEST as an organization did realize that we've been doing a lot in the market, but there's a lot more that we could actually achieve. And looking at that, we partnered with the MasterCard Foundation in 2018 to 2019 to work with young people, 2 companies, to scale the impact that MESS has had in the market. And we've had that, so there was a first partnership that we had with MasterCard Foundation, working with various young people and companies. This year, we just signed a new contract with MasterCard Foundation to focus specifically on a sector. So in the previous years, it's been very sector agnostic, but this particular year is focused on EdTech. And this actually came off the back of a conference we had last year called EdTech Stakeholder Forum. In this forum, we do realize that there were a lot of challenges in the space, in the EdTech space, and the businesses were there but thriving, but needed a lot more to be supported. And we realized that this might really be a great thing for us to do, partnered with MasterCard Foundation to work specifically in the EdTech space to grow these businesses.
Okay, you mentioned that you identified that there are some challenges, which is why you even went ahead to partner MasterCard, so that you can fix the problems that we have. But how critical is this partnership and the work you are doing to our quest for development in the EdTech space?
Thank you for that. So I believe in 2020, during the pandemic, we also saw the gap in education when all the students had to sit at home. In that time, the kids that were good, from good schools, in schools that were in the urban areas, had a lot more access to continue the schooling. So there was not really much of a break in the education. But then those who didn't have any access to any form of technology were not able to access any form of education for almost, I think it was a whole year, right? That 1 year break in education has other factors that affect the students, the economy, and all other factors. And we know that in Africa, I think more than 50% of our population are young people. So it's really critical that they are educated consistently and continuously to make sure that we grow our economic base, right? So with that in mind, we said that this was a critical piece, and EdTech will be that piece that will be able to bridge the gap between the rural, especially areas, and areas, because technology scales a lot faster. And especially in a pandemic, for example, it's a lot easier to share knowledge on technology. And I remember we had TV channels that were airing a lot of educational content, but then still had to even have access to that. And it wasn't even for non-existence of EdTechs in the country, but were they prepared enough to provide the service that was needed at the time? And I think we all know that there was not much for the EdTechs to do because there was not much preparation. They didn't have enough skill.
Nobody was warned about this pandemic.
Those had to reach areas. And hence the support that we want to give these companies.
That's impact. So do you want to share some milestones that you've achieved so far? Any significant successes you want to shed light on?
So we are just starting. We literally just launched the program yesterday.
So just yesterday?
Just yesterday. So that was official launch.
But you were broadcasting educational content. Those are all impactful ventures that...
Maybe I wasn't clear. We didn't broadcast educational content. I'll just give you an example of some of the content that were broadcasted on national television.
Oh, okay. So that was not from you?
That was not from us, not at all. But yeah, so for the partnership with MasterCard Foundation on the EdTech Fellowship, the goal really is to be able to accelerate 36 companies in the next 3 years.
All right.
With the goal of letting them support a lot of impacts with learning outcomes, especially. The goal is to reach at least 1 million learners in the next 3 years.
Do you need support? What do you need to facilitate this, or you're okay?
We are definitely not okay, but we do have the support. So yesterday we had the Minister of Education, we had people from the GES and some of the other partners, GCED, CETEL, and all the other partners in the educational technology space who have really promised their support. And without them, of course, we cannot go far. We do know the African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And I think that it's important that with these partnerships, we do go further than even we anticipate.
Right.
And yes, a call out to other partners that are in the space to support, because all the support we need would be appreciated. We're able to go far and support a lot and make a lot more impact in Africa.
Thank you so much, Angela Do. And I hope that in 3 years, which is the duration of your program, you would have touched many, many lives.
So the duration is a total of 5 years. The first 3 years, we supported the 6 companies. And in the last 2 years, is a lot more of post-cohort support, where we still support the companies to make sure that we increase their impact.
So it's a 5-year program?
It's a 5-year program.
Well, congratulations. And thank you for joining the program to shed more light on this beautiful program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Angela Doho is Program Manager at Mest Africa, and they've partnered with MasterCard Foundation to upscale and do some great work in the EdTech sector. Before we go, I want to tell you about UPSA Law School and some of the things they're doing under the distinguished patronage of His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor. That's the former President of the Republic of Ghana. And they're pleased to invite you to the Open of Business, the AFCFTA, the Africa Trade and Innovation Conference. This conference is designed to provide a critical and independent platform for discussion of new trade pacts under the AFCFTA and trade in Africa, and undertake a situational review of adoption and implementation of the AFTA since 2021. And in the process, examine the challenges confronting the smooth takeoff of the regime. The details of the conference are as follows. So the date is on the 16th and 17th of May 2024. It starts at 9 a.m. GMT to 4 p.m. GMT each day. The venue is Kofi Ohene Konedu Auditorium at UPSA campus. Visit the social media platforms of the UPSA Law School for information on how to participate in the conference, or call them on 0245 347 946. That is 0245 347 946. Right now, we'll take a break. When we come back, there's still more for you on the AM show.
Welcome back on the AM show, and it's a joy to host the next group we're bringing on, Core Africa Ghana. We'll be telling you why, but let me first introduce my guests to you. They say ladies first. So Victoria Ndebugri is a former volunteer for Core Africa Ghana, and Moses Kofi is the country director. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right. I think it's only fitting to find out, what is Core Africa? Tell us about it.
Yeah,
Mr. Kofi.
Good. Core Africa is an organization that started in Morocco in 2013, but came into Ghana in 2022. And what we do is to identify and recruit young Ghanaians who are ready and willing, they must be graduates, to go serve in rural communities, work with rural people, and help bring about what we describe as community-led development. Now, we prepare them for the communities by training them, and they go through a very rigorous training, and the kind of approaches we use actually kind of sets us apart in what we achieve at the end of the day. We use approaches we call, first, HCD, which is human-centered design, is common, is generic, but there is ABCD, which is asset-based community development. And as the name suggests, it is a way of drawing the attention of our rural people to the fact that they have what it takes to develop themselves. They have what it takes to solve their challenges. And so we go out there and point them to their assets anytime they point us to their needs. What do you have? Look around you. What assets do you have? And it's a very exciting initiative that we've been engaged in the last 2 years, and so impactful. I think the whole of Ghana needs to actually become aware of what is out there.
But what inspired the setting up of Core Africa, and what are some of the key principles you run by?
All right. So first of all, it is about self-sufficiency. All right. Okay. It is about not depending on people and things. And for me, at the end of the day, this whole initiative brings, in my personal perspective, it restores the dignity of people. When you have been used to asking for, depending on other people, you're not yourself. You're not living your life. But when you begin to realize that on your own, you can make it, that is where life becomes more meaningful. Because you look within, you look around, and you take what is available, and you confront the challenges that you're encountering every day, and you bring solutions to them. And so it is about locals helping locals, all right? It is about humility. We go there not as experts, we go there to go and learn, because the rural people are the champions of their space.
Right.
And then transparency. Whatever we learn on the ground, we share. And whether it's the successes or the failures, because we believe that all those would help to make things better for them in future. So these are some of the principles we work with. Yeah.
Let me come to you, Victoria. You're a former volunteer, right? What inspired you to join, and this bandwagon, I should say, and what was the experience like?
Okay, so I think I was inspired by the fact that these are rural people, and it's different to, I mean, it's important to have a change of environment, having lived in the town for a while, go and experience what other people are experiencing in different parts of the world, let me say. So when I got into the community, I can say my 1 year of service has been very fulfilling because I lived with the people and I experienced the challenges they've been going through. I worked with them and together we're able to develop ourselves. And this is sustainable development. We came up with activities, we came up with projects, and these were all towards solving their daily challenges. So it was so fulfilling to serve as a volunteer in this community. And one memorable story I would like to share was when I was sent to, my community is actually Kamfi Island in the northern region of Ghana. So when I was deployed, I realized that these people have been going through a lot and they've been managing themselves for so many years now. The first few days of my stay in the community, when I asked for a place I could go to attend to nature's call, I realized that they directed me to an open field. And I was so hesitant. Wow. Yeah, I was so hesitant because how do I do this? It's right opposite the road. If you know the Kumbungu road, it's a very busy road. So I waited till nightfall, but I realized that even at night, it was more dangerous. So I began to experience, this was how I began to experience what they've been going through. So it wasn't surprising when we got to a point where to undertake a major project, the people came up with the idea of building their own household toilets. And for me, having worked with them to build household toilets to solve this particular challenge was so fulfilling. I also engaged in other activities that were supposed to, or that was intended to improve upon their economic lives. So we did trainings in soap making, especially for the women and the youth, and some of them have begun selling these products and they are making ends meet out of it. I also volunteered to teach in the school because the teachers stay outside of the community. Right. And by the time they get to school, these children are just all over playing. So I wake up in the morning, I go to the school, engage the children while waiting for the teachers to resume work. And it's so inspiring because these are the little things that make sense to them, that makes them feel that they are also a part of us and they are growing.
Would you say this experience has changed you in any way?
It has changed me, both personally and professionally. Wow. Yeah, it has changed me. I mean, like, living with them alone, I have to adjust to their food, their water, and I began to live like a community member. And I can say that if you put me in any part of the world, I can stay. Yeah, because these are challenges I came out of. Yeah, they were just so beautiful to experience. And professionally, I underwent some training. That's the PST, pre-service training, the in-service training, which comes in 1 and 2, then the COS, close of service training. And all these are to build you professionally. So it has been a good one for me. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Let me come to you briefly. So what specific areas do you target? Right. And how do you ensure sustainability of the development? Briefly on that point.
Right. If you don't mind, I'll just touch on something she said at the tail of something she said. She said that when our volunteers go into the community, one of the things we've come to realize beautifully is that the little things they do, helping the school children, helping, teaching people how to produce reusable sanitary pads, and so on, those little things, the kind of fulfillment, all right, and the way these people feel so grateful that these things have been met, go a long way to make you feel that, I'm also really creating value here. All right, because in the city or in towns, you are nobody. In the village, your little effort is so much appreciated. You want to stay. So yeah, this one of the question you asked is one of the things that actually makes us different. We don't go into a community with a sector in mind because we go and listen to the community, and what they come up with is what we work with them to do. So in that sense, we are not in any sector, but at the end of the day, we are in all sectors. All right. So if you take last year, the things we did cut across health, education.
So there are many things, many sectors. We have to go, but I'd just like to find out from you, do you have upcoming events or initiatives, and how can people come on board?
Absolutely.
Who want to help?
We have a major event which is key on our calendar. It's called the Pitch Day. It's coming on the 30th of May. And what we do is that our volunteers have come to that stage, our current volunteers. We have 30 of them in 3 regions, Central, Volta, and Northern. They've come to the point where they're about to implement a project, a signature project in the communities in which they are. And the pitch day gives them an opportunity to come and showcase to businesses, philanthropists, and other NGOs. And in case there's a finance gap, that we give opportunity to these entities to shore in or weigh in there, so that together we all help in bringing up our development in the communities in which we serve, and we ensure that they are sustainable.
Thank you, Moses Kofi. You have the final word, Victoria, briefly. And then
I just want to encourage the youth of Ghana to embrace this opportunity. It's good we start with the spirit of volunteerism, and it's so fulfilling. So therefore, unfortunately, applications for the next cohort closed yesterday, but it's a yearly program, and applications will be open next year. So let us embrace this opportunity and contribute to the sustainable development of Mother Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining the conversation. I do recall at a point, I think it must have been Mr. President talking about volunteering, more volunteerism. Well, there you have it, Core Africa joining us. We had Moses Kofi, Country Director of Core Africa, Ghana, and then Victoria Ndebugri, a former volunteer. Well, attention all HD Plus subscribers, starting the 13th of June 2024, SES HD Plus Ghana will provide HD channels to free-to-air TV homes at no cost. This means that all users of the multi-TV platform will have access to HD channels without paying HD Plus subscriptions. Now, key points to remember. 1, as of the 16th of April 2024, no new HD Plus subscription purchases or activations will be available. Existing HD Plus decoders will receive free-to-air channels until the 13th of June 2024. 2, subscribers with active subscriptions beyond the 13th of June 2024 will be compensated. Such customers will be contacted by the HD Plus number 0242 439 872 from the 30th of April. That is for you to note. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back on the AM show. I'm really excited about the next conversation because my people are here from the Department of Modern Languages at the University of Ghana. They played a pivotal role in my life today. We celebrate 60th anniversary. And joining me in the studio, Professor Benedicta Adokale Lomote. She's Associate Professor, Spanish Section, Modern Languages Department, and she's also chair of the 60th Anniversary Planning Committee. Then we have Dr. Sarah Maji, Senior Lecturer, Kiswahili Section, Modern Languages Department, who is also UTAG Women's Executive Officer. And then Mr. Leonard Jojo Taylor, Student Representative, Spanish Section, Modern Languages Department. I guess I have to say, buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
And to you, karibu.
Asante sana.
All right. So just tell us, the Modern Languages Department has been around for quite a while. I'd like us to look at what has been happening in recent years and some of the memorable events. I'll start with you, Prof. Rosa Lumiti.
All right. So the department was established in 1951 as the Department of French. And then in 1964, we had other languages. Arabic, Kiswahili, Russian, and Spanish being added. So we have some new developments since then. In 2009, Chinese was also added. And apart from these additions to the languages, there's been growth in our infrastructure. We have now the Confucius Institute. We have the Casa Hispanica and the Language Lab. We have, in addition to that, several programs that keep on growing over the years. So this is the reason why we want to celebrate our 60th anniversary, because we have really grown.
Wow. And for you, Dr. Maji, how long have you been around as far as the Swahili section is concerned?
I was admitted in the year 2000. Wow. I went for the year abroad. You also went for the year abroad, right?
Where did you go?
Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Yes.
Right.
So then came back and finished, and then I've been around since.
Oh,
so since 2001.
That's interesting. I got to do Cuba, so I spent a year there. But let me come to you, Leonard. You're a level 400 student of Spanish.
Yes, my final year.
Ah, I see. What's the experience been like?
It's been amazing. Like, when it comes to relations with the lecturers and the whole department, we are one family, especially the Spanish section, right? That's where my section is, and other departments as well. we are all in one building, so we all have the ability, or we have the compassion to relate with one another, right? So it's very, 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 very happy place to be at.
Wow.
Because
I know that place, I mean, French, Spanish, everybody coming. And sometimes when you have a student doing more than one language, it becomes... I remember, though, you've not spoken about the plays and other things we do. I remember playing the role of El Duque Octavio. And that was my first acting scene. And I quit because I realized it wasn't really my thing. But let's come to the 60th anniversary. What are the relevant dates? What are the activities lined up? I'll come back to you, Prof.
Okay. So we are starting this coming Tuesday, that's the 14th of May, with the launch. It will take place at 9 o'clock at the Great Hall.
Okay.
After that, we will follow to the colloquium on the 6th of June. Okay. That will be at the Casa, at the Maison Française, as the modern language annex.
Right.
And that will also take place at 9 o'clock. So we'll be inviting some of our students. We have 2 panels, 2 sessions, and we are inviting our alumni, you are one of them, to come talk to us about...
And I will be there.
So yes, we are very much looking forward to that. About the different students, and also to guide our current students on the career paths that they could consider. We then have a second panel of students who have recently graduated. And the motive behind that is to get them to motivate our current students. So those who are coming are those who have been valedictorians, or for those that haven't been able to get that position, those who are very excellent, brilliant students, that's first-class students. So we want them to come tell our current students how they did it, how they got there. So after that, you will have some relaxation, apart from all that academic work and all that. On the 5th of July, we're going to have a sports gala and then a sponsored walk. And then we will crown all that on the 2nd of August with the homecoming dinner and awards night. So during the homecoming awards night, we want to welcome alumni back home, get the chance to celebrate, to congratulate those who have collaborated with us over the years, and also to give some awards to our best students, our collaborators.
Wow, interesting stuff. Dr. Maggie, my final bit to you, I mean, she said it all, but sometimes people say, oh, languages, what are they missing out on? They go like, oh, languages, dear, medeyede.
So let me start by saying that I sat in a trotro from Mamubi to Nima. And then a man said something to the daughter. And because I could speak Hausa, I understood what the man told the daughter. So language is life. You need language to live. Assuming we are in a community where we've been told not to do anything else, but you can't live with somebody without saying a word to the person when you get up in the morning. So yes, in the Department of Modern Languages, we have all these languages. And like you said, sometimes one person is doing French and another language, and then you see that the person graduates and comes out. And we get all these bilinguals. You are here, you are using language. Sometimes I listen to you a lot and I see that you snip in all those words and all that. So language is life, and the Department of Modern Languages is that hub where you have access to all these languages. And like he said, we are one big family, and we are welcoming everybody to this anniversary because it is historic, because we will be going our separate ways as a Department of Modern Languages after this celebration.
Well, it's been really refreshing having you join the conversation. But Leonard, do you have something interesting for us that you'd like to? Where did you learn salsa?
I learned salsa at Casa Hispanica, level 100. It was introduced to us as one of the clubs. So we have salsa canto to enable the students engage in the culture of the country we are studying. So if you go to the department, every section has a club that they all join, so they enable the students, not just class session, but outside as well, to interact with the lecturers who also attend to dance, to sing, and to interact with us.
So you did something. Can you show us a few things? I went to Cuba and I was learning a bit of guitar. I never learned salsa, but you are in Ghana and you've learned. Okay, so let's do this. Prof, are we going to give him a beat or something? In just a few seconds, see what he can put together.
Without music, it's just...
Okay, so, all right. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, look at that body go. Oh, wow. That's interesting. You can expect that and more as we host our 60th anniversary. Thank you so much for coming. Professor Benedicta Adokale Lomote, Associate Professor, Spanish Section, Modern Languages Department. Dr. Sarah Maji, Senior Lecturer, Kiswahili Section, Modern Languages Department. And of course, our very own Salsa Prefect on the show, Mr. Leonard Jojo Taylor, Student Representative, Spanish Section, Modern Languages Department. I will be there, and I'll drag along my other year mates to come along. But right before we go, catch the Bus Stop Diaries. The Bus Stop Diaries. It's our latest podcast streaming live, myjoyonline.com, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple as well. The likes of Daniel Christian will be there together with our very own Kwame Dazi. The theme, Impact of Dumso on the Youth. It premieres on Friday, the 10th of May, 2024 at 2:30 p.m. You don't want to miss it. That's it right there. And on that note, we cap off the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakwa. I do this together with Sweetie Abochi. It's been a sweet day, hasn't it? Stay for Joy News Desk. Up next.